Hello everybody and welcome to the Moonbase 2 podcast with me, Andy, and Big D. Hello, Big D.
Hey, dude.
How's it going?
It's going all right. How's it going with you?
It's fine, you know, it's cracking on. We're going to be talking about toys today. Going to be specifically talking about the beginning of the chug line, or the continuation of the chug line. Is it chug or chud?
And
why was it called that? Why was it called chug?
Classics hentai universe
Henkai,
generation.
not hentai. Hentai is a very different thing.
Henkai. Yeah, I know what it meant. Yeah, so classics henkai
there you go.
universe generations.
Okay,
chug.
There we go. Yeah, so we are into the H. No, we're into the U. We're into the U of.
Well, we're kind of a bit of a mixture because we get some United bleed over because United ran for a while in Japan.
That's true.
A long time, actually.
Yeah. I mean, it was just their Universe 2.0 and whatnot, if I remember, for the most part. But yeah, we're going to be talking about Universe 2.0, not to be confused with Universe, which came out only technically a few years prior to Universe 2.0. But you know, Transformer naming conventions have never been a desperately good thing. You know, even as far back as like 2009. Or earlier.
Yeah, Hasbro don't like to make people's lives easy.
No, they just go, wait, it sounds good, doesn't it? It's good enough.
Yeah. I mean, look, search for robots in disguise and, well, brace yourself for your
Google's
results.
Just going to start screaming, what do you mean?
What do you mean?
Way more specific. A TV show, be more specific than that. Aye.
Decade.
Yeah, exactly. And if you don't know, you're fucked. You don't know. Nobody knows.
Yeah.
But we're going to be talking about the universe line. We're going to start off with, obviously, the small boys and then move up to the big ones, where probably, depending on how long this takes, this might only be a, how long do you say? 2-hour show. We're kind of aiming for 2 hours, so it might be a two-parter, something like that.
Yeah, 2 hours I think is a sweet spot, and honestly, with this, 2 episodes is easy to do, to be honest.
It's easier, it's less pressure. There won't be like a massive discussion on 5,000 different repaints of Starscream, so that's something.
Yeah, that's out of the way, so we're fine on that score now.
There are repaints, though. There are quite a few repaints of some of these figures, like the Prowl mold got a decent amount.
But nothing anywhere near as egregious as Starscream.
No, thankfully.
I mean, we've got to get to Siege before we get to that level with Sideswipe.
Yeah, technically true.
Yeah.
We'll start off with the Legends figures. Were they Legends at this point, or were they Scouts at this point?
I think it was.
Were they Scouts?
Might have been Scout.
I don't know.
It was on a weird phase where this scale kind of changed names like every other year.
Yeah.
So you never remember what they were called.
No, it was the small ones, though. The smallest ones. I think back then they were probably like 5-6 pounds.
Yeah.
Is that right? Instead of 12 now. 50%
more. But they're also a lot less complex. They're
in
very
some ways. I wouldn't say much less.
No, but it's one of those. It's one of those things where the Scout class for Chug kind of, especially that early period of like late noughts, early aughts, it kind of hit a sweet spot where the figures were the Scouts. They didn't have as much of the extra gubbins we expect nowadays across all classes, and they lacked certain bits of articulation we take for granted, but they were quite intuitive. They were fun. They were much more toyetic. They were much more fun to play around with in your hands.
Yeah,
you could literally just fiddle with them absent-mindedly.
If these were more like the way the Micromasters worked, I think people would have been a bit more happy with Micromasters. The problem with the Micromasters was that when ball joined crazy, and it was too much. We're starting off with Beachcomber, though. Not obviously because this is Chug. He's not G1 100% accurate, but it's a fairly. You look at him and you're like, it's Beachcomber.
Yeah. It's one of those, I'll probably say a lot, but it's a neat update to Beachcomber. So it's got all the colours in place. The head sculpt is Beachcomber, and you look at the alt mode. It's a different sort of beach buggy. But it's an off-road 4x4. I'll take it.
Oddly enough, with a gun on. I remember even back in the day, people were like, why does Beachcomber, the pacifist, have a gun?
Hmm.
And only for his buggy mode, because he obviously couldn't hold it. No one...
Yeah.
I don't know what they were trying to achieve with this buggy, whether it was meant to be like almost a little nod to the Warthog from Halo or not.
I think it might have been just because it's got that aesthetic to it, but it's got that big, chunky 4x4 sci-fi off-roader to it.
Yeah, and the roll cage, and granted, it doesn't have a like man-mounted turret in the back of it, but it does have a gun turret where the Gatling gun would be for the Warthog. So I always assumed it was meant to be that.
I'm sure did it get a repaint into like a much more militarized color scheme?
Recolors, Hunt for the Decepticons, Sandstorm. No, he got turned into a desert buggy. So he's like beige and orange, apparently. Think
interesting.
Detritus. It's that kind of color scheme.
Yeah,
it's okay. Yeah. It's okay. It's a bit of a weird one for recoloring of a Beachcomber figure. Well, I'm not used to seeing them like that, at the very least.
Yeah, I think it was one of those ones where they were just trying to keep the name in use, and Sandstorm's always been a beach buggy as alt mode, so it kind of made sense. It was a nice cheap one they could do, yeah.
Yeah, again, like you said, there's not a huge amount of articulation. He's got universal ball-jointed hips. He's got a big knee bend for the articulation. No elbows. Did he have a waist? I think he had a waist, right?
I think he did, yeah. It looks like he's got a waist.
Yeah, no head articulation, and then the shoulders are kind of on hinges that move up, and they're on ball joints as well, but that is mainly for facilitating forwards and backwards motion. So not a huge amount, but I'd say compared to some of the more modern like Legends figures, he looks better in some ways. Like if you compare him to like Bombburst, who looks nice in robot mode, but then his vehicle mode is absolute garbage and doesn't really peg together. Yeah. This is better than that, because this is like solid. Like you put this together, and he was a solid vehicle mode, even though he wasn't going to do a lot of posing in robot mode or anything.
But
what do you think of him?
I think he's lovely.
Yeah.
It's weird because this was a line that I kind of passed on the Scouts.
Oh, okay.
I might have had one or two of them, but it was never really my focus for my collection. Is there a reason?
Were you just not interested in them or something?
It just wasn't my vibe, because I was trying to keep more to the deluxe scale and above in terms of how my collection looked.
Yeah.
So I had Bumblebee as deluxe, and he's like twice the size of these guys. So
which Bumblebee?
Classics Bumblebee. He's about.
Oh, I thought you meant Scout Bumblebee, who we're going to get to.
No.
Okay, yeah.
But I mean, we're getting them now in deluxe classes, which I think is great.
Yeah,
it's been lovely. But this bit, I mean, don't get me wrong, they were quite fun figures, and
again, for like £5-6, this is pretty good for £5 or £6.
Absolutely, yeah. If I'd had my niece and nephew around this point, I'd probably have bought all of them for them easily.
I will say that the molding for the mouth was a little bit shallow. Like, it's very hard to pick out his mouth detail. It would have been bit better if it was a little bit of a harder line in the molding process.
Yeah, that's fair.
But Beachcomber's, for the amount of money he was, I think he's perfectly fine. I think he's better than the repaint. The repaint, it's I don't like it that much.
No, the repaint is just keeping the branding going, to be fair.
It looks like one of those figures you get in a Generations GoBot package, Generation Select. Like, you go, okay, it's okay, fair enough. Yeah, whatever. Next up, we have Brawn, who's strangely colored, I would say. He's the wrong green. His face is black, while his penis helmet is still silver, so it's not exactly what you would think of when you think of L. Brawn, but he has a different transformation from Beachcomber. It's a little bit more complex. Well, it's a little bit, it's different. It's a little bit different. And again, would make for a decent Micromaster transformation, to be honest. And again, he has similar articulation, knee bend, waist, the head, I think, swivels left and right, but I'm not entirely sure. And then the shoulders are on universal ball joints as well. And the vehicle mode, again, a little happy camper van. It's not exactly the same as what you'd remember, but The only negative here is you can see his groin and thighs in the top of the vehicle mode, but facilitating how the transformation works, it's not too bad. There's a little bit of miscoloration between the painted green of his back and the molded green of his arms and legs, which is a bit of a shame.
Yeah, but that's one of those things they still haven't solved even today, sadly.
No, and
which is frustrating.
I think it's a little better now. Yeah, but this is it's just a bit of a shame. Yellow is always usually the most offensive one when you see it. Yellow is the worst. Green, it's a shame that they couldn't get the green right. You know, green's a heavier color, thicker color, pixely color. Pigmented color. That's the word. Pigmented color. Whoops.
Yeah, I mean, Braun should really be more of an olivey drab green.
Yeah,
that's how I always picture him. So this is a bit of an odd shade, but overall, it's actually not a bad version of Braun in terms of the sculpt. It's just the colors are a bit odd because, like I say, that the face being black it's
a weird choice.
Odd.
Yeah,
it is when you got all the black behind him in the hood as well.
I'm guessing and this is only me jumping to conclusions. It was molded in black, and to save paint, they just went fine because otherwise they'd need to use two different kinds. They'd need to use silver for his penis helmet, and then they'd need to use like a gray color for the head. So there was two distinct colors, and maybe they just went.
I mean, at least they painted his eyes, so that's something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so instead of having like 3 colors on the head, they went okay, two will do. But again, I don't know the process. It's only a guess, but to me that makes sense.
Yeah. Again, though, quite a nice take on the character. Not perfect, but for the money, can't really argue that, can you?
No, exactly. Again, £5-6, not too bad. Bimblebee. Bimblebee with a strangely shaped head. Very angular compared to what Bumblebee's really used to. Clearly, the head was molded in yellow, and they painted the face mostly, but they didn't really get around the eyes or the top of the nose. So they have painted the eyes. It's just like the gaps in between. You can tell where it's been painted. Again, it's not a bad looking Bumblebee. He's maybe a little on the long side due to like how tall his chest is, and then he's just got his groin area, and then some very flat arms on the side of him. He looks a bit more compact than maybe the other two did, and a bit more elongated.
I mean if his hips sat a little bit higher, so or the torso sat a bit lower, it'll probably balance the proportions out, but
it almost doesn't look fully transformed, right?
Yeah,
it is. For those wondering who see the image, it is done. It's just like you say, you just want to squish him just down a little bit more, like his chest just could click into position, you'd think, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
Anything else on Bumblebee?
Not really. I mean, it does for the job, like we said before. It's probably the weakest of the 3 so far we've looked at.
Yeah, it was. I remember even for the scouts, it was relatively simple. You just kind of unicordian fold him into himself and use his arms to kind of clip him all together. He's not a Volkswagen Beetle. He's what kind of vehicle is he meant to be? You know cars better than I do.
Optimistic.
No, you definitely know cars more than I do.
He's a sporty hatchback, I'd say.
See, I wouldn't know. That sounds. I'll go with it. It has 2 doors, 3 doors if you include the boot. That's as much as I could glean from it. Not bad look. It's not a Camaro, and around this era, like what Bumblebee wasn't a fucking Camaro, so that was kind of a nice godsend, I suppose. Additional versions of Bumblebee for more information. No,
the repaints are quite interesting. Looking at this,
recolors. We got Reveal the Shield, gold Bumblebee, which is gold. It's Goldbug. So,
it is. It's completely got those colors just with Bumblebee's head, which is
it's
odd,
fine.
Okay.
Is this like because this is is this gold plastic syndrome? Because it looks like it's got speckles in it, so it looks like it might be.
Yeah, I think it might be.
It might be.
If anyone listening to this has one, good luck and God bless you.
Well, I was going to say, if you want to test it, like put it in your hand in vehicle mode and just lightly squeeze.
Squeeze!
You don't even have to squeeze hard. I did that with a Randy from Beast Wars Neo and felt him crack.
Oh dear.
Yeah. I didn't care because it didn't cost too much at the time, and I didn't like it because I thought it looked ugly as fuck. But I remember being like, oh no, oh no. Oh dear.
What was it? One of the job lots I bought once at a boot sale had the Star Wars Transformers Millennium Falcon, Han and Chewie, and Chewie basically exploded. It wasn't even very long after it had come out, but
it's
the limbs
bizarre had gold plastic
crumbled.
It's bizarre that was a thing for that figure. There's no need for swirls to be in that.
But it was all on his limbs as well.
Yeah,
it was
the
all
important parts.
connecting limbs. It was nothing of the torso, just the limbs and the shoulders and the knees and the hips. It was all gold plastic. It was like, for the love of God, why?
Chewie, he's got to die, I suppose. There was another repaint for Toys R Us, Cybertronian Legion Bumblebee. This is a Bumblebee again with a little bit of a bit of paint on his face, it seems, and then a gigantic Oddbot insignia. And then some extra bits of black on the front of the hood, which it looks okay. Oh, he's also got a yellow kind of highlight colors around the edges, which I'm not sure orange highlights around the edges. I'm not sure orange is a good highlight on yellow.
No, it's normally good with black, but it's a very odd combination over a yellow body.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I'm not sure what they were going for and why it was only specific areas that they did the highlight for, but it's okay. It's fine. And then there was the Family Dollar Generations Legend Bumblebee, which was another Bumblebee. It looks exactly the same as the previous Bumblebee that we just looked at. Does it?
Yeah.
No, I think it's the same one. I think they just re-released it. Oh, no. Wait. No, this one's a little different. Hang on.
Oh, he's got a black symbol on his chest instead.
I was going to say, if you look at the vehicle mode, on the previous one, the orange highlight goes around the door rim, but on the Family Dollar Store one, the orange highlight just stops around the wheels and the front of the car. So they haven't continued it along the edge of the bottom of the door frame.
Yeah.
Odd.
How very odd.
Very, very odd.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it looks the same, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost practically identical apart from that, it seems, unless that orange line was just inconsistent. There was another reason for it, but that's odd. So, oddly enough, lots of reuses of the mold, but only one recolor into Goldbug without the new head, as you said. Little odd. I guess this was before the era of your glyphs. I'm surprised we didn't get a cliff jumper, to be honest, out of it. That's the easy one to do.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I do remember that was something a few people did query when this life. But we
really?
Didn't get a cliff jumper. Yeah.
Well, that makes sense.
It's the obvious one. You do Bumblebee, you get a cliff jumper for free, effectively.
Because even the head sculpt for this Bumblebee mold, you could say it's cliff jumper.
I mean, I'd probably have said it was more cliff than B, to be honest.
Yeah, because it's so angular. Yeah, I would agree with that. But yeah, that's Bumblebee. He's like you said, the weakest of them. We had probably our first Cosmos in years. And years and years.
I mean, first Cosmos since G1, so 2 decades.
Yeah.
Nearly free to get to this guy.
And he's
yeah.
He's very much a micromaster, is how I would describe him. He's got very ape-like arms. He's got the gorilla posing arms.
I want to see, I think he might make slightly better use of the frame of the UFO than the G1 figure did for the arms. But I go back and forth on that one. He's certainly better proportioned. He actually has a body as opposed to and hips, so which is one up on the original.
I think I prefer the silhouette of the original one, mainly because this one's like when you aim the arms down, it is just like most of the
it is quite aggressively obvious what his arms are made of.
Yeah,
this one.
While G1 Cosmos just kind of looked a little bit plump, I suppose you could say. Like for a G1 toy, a G1 Minicon guy, or whatever they're called, Minibot dude.
Yeah. I mean, it have a G1 Cosmos because of how the transformation went. His arms were a bit more integrated into the sides of vehicle mode. So they didn't look at. Whereas this, they've gone for a much flatter look for the alt mode, which actually it's a really nice alt mode.
It is. It's a nice kind of more modern, in quotations, UFO kind of looking disc. I like the weird alien writing, though. It does look a little bit like I tried to write something on it with a a marker. Not desperately well. I like the yellow little pointy fin at the back. That's quite nice. It's quite cool. And it is compact.
It is.
I almost think of it like, oh fuck, what was the name? The Minicon from Unicron. Was it Dead End?
Dead End.
It almost makes me have the same vibe as that, but I think Dead End worked better. I think it transformed more than this as well, technically.
Yeah, he had a surprisingly intricate transformation for an accessory.
Yeah,
dude.
And to be fair, until 2014, we wouldn't get another Cosmos, and the 2014 Cosmos was much better than this, I would say. But like you say, from 1985 to what was this? 2009. 2009. That's a big jump. So this was a big deal, even though you could argue it wasn't a great figure. It was nice to have him back after many, many decades.
Yeah, and that was a key thing here, that it was, even though I didn't indulge in this part of the line, the fact that we were getting them, that they did a decent chunk of like the mini bots.
Yeah, surprising amount. Yeah, I agree.
In A form. Yeah. And then Takara kind of went ham and did them in big multi-packs of 4 at a time.
Which was fun.
Which it was.
Good way for the Japanese to collect them. It's just like, do you want these 4? It's like, yep. There we go. Yeah. All right, there you go.
And they've got the Takara paint job on the same page, and it's actually real nice because there's a lot more. They've done more paint on the actual saucer, on the detail that's inlaid. So you get like the canopy on the forms of the arms and a little silver trim as well. That's lovely.
I think the yellow looks a little bit nicer on the Takara one as well. It looks like they made it a bit more of a Avalon Sun kind of yellowish, while the Hasbro one looks a bit sickly again.
Actually, I'd probably say that about, not just for Finn, the body and the face
the thighs.
Well.
Yeah, the thighs and the face. Yeah, you're right, yeah. So they actually molded the legs in a brighter color plastic as well. Huh.
Interesting.
The greens also, I think you mentioned this, but the greens, how to describe it? It's an army green.
It's more army green than the Dark Angel green they've used on the Hasbro Cosmos. Yeah,
because that one, if someone said, oh no, that's an army green as well, it's like, not really. It's like close, but it's like if someone was filming a movie and they were doing a day to night scene and put a blue filter over the top of it to make it. It's the same green, but it's a little bit more blue, just a little tad.
Yeah.
The like you say, the Henkei version is just probably. It's definitely a closer green to the original. I don't think it's 100% accurate.
You know what? I've only just realised that on Hasbro Cosmos they have actually painted the canopy on the front of the UFO mode.
Oh, it's just blue.
Very dark blue.
Yeah, a dark blue on a very dark kind of bluey green. That's not.
Yeah, I think I prefer the silver on the Henkei one. To be fair,
yeah, you can actually tell what it is. It's not just kind of lost in the detail. Yeah, Cosmos, it's all right. He's not bad.
Yeah.
He's better than Bumblebee because he's at least unique. I'll give it to him there. Now this is what the next one I didn't have, so I can't really speak too much on it. And it's what they class as Rodimus. I don't know why this is Rodimus and not Hot Rod, but
I think they went for a phase of they couldn't license Hot Rod.
Oh, okay.
It's why until like maybe Titan's Return, he was always called Rodimus.
Okay.
And why in the comics they changed his name as well?
I guess that would make sense.
Because Hasbro just couldn't, they weren't allowed to trademark it because Hot Rod is not a trademarkable term.
Remembering trademarks for Hasbro is just a bit of a nightmare for over the years because they lost and gained so many times. Did you didn't have this either, did you?
I didn't. I'd actually not realised they did Rodimus, to be fair.
No, me neither. He's got a lot of really ugly nub marks all on the front of his body, which is a little bit of a shame. They did a bad cleanup job. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some Hasbro figures that have really bad nub marks, but the fact that they're all really visible and let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 really big, obnoxious ones right on the front of the figure. That's not great. I think the arms pull out as well on like those black hinges, and I never like it when toys do that. At least Transformers. Do you know what I mean?
I do. They can be a bit of a pain, especially if they're at an angle like that, because if they kind of go from horizontal to vertical to horizontal, and they kind of then slide up, then I'm normally okay. But if they're at an angle, because at an angle they're just awkward.
They usually need to lock in as well if you do it. And this scale, like this in Deluxes when they do it, they don't usually lock into position. So if you try and move the arm up, they usually disconnect and start untransforming itself.
It's a shame because it is a bit of an innovative approach to take, but it just don't work that well on this scale.
Not really. I appreciate that they've tried to, well, I don't know if it's intentional or not. They've tried to give him his little hot rod pipe gun things, or it looks like they have, as they've kind of extended past the fists. I don't know whether that was an intentional design choice or not. It's kind of hard to say because I can't even see where they go in the vehicle mode, to be honest. But maybe that's what they go. I'll like a positive thing I'll say is I think the vehicle mode looks quite nice. I like the fact that they for this scale of figure for the budget they've put at least 3 flame effects on the chest, the side of the arm, and then the other side of the arm. So I'll give it to him there.
Yeah, I mean you look at it and it is quite clear. You can take a stab at who it is, and that's going to be Hot Rod.
Yeah. Mr. White says he has G1 ratchet arms, shoulders in his chest. Kinda. Not wrong. I don't know. Because I didn't have this figure, I don't want to comment too much on it, but it looks a little bit uninspired, I guess.
Yeah. I'm just looking at some of the repaints and...
Oh, Legend Smokescreen. Oh, God, that's awful.
I mean, the vehicle mode looks...
That's fine.
Actually, not too bad. But for robot mode, it's like, oh, yeah.
That's a KO that you find in B&M or Poundland.
That's a McDonald's toy.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
It's that shade of red.
Yeah, and blue. Yeah, that's an interesting color. Dark of the Moon, Rodimus. What's this one? Oh, no. Oh, no.
Yeah, that's... Hey, Tangerine Man.
This is the figure. This is the original version of the figure that you left in the conservatory for 5 years, and all of the colors been washed out of it due to like sun bleeding. That's what it looks like to me.
And I mean, ironically, they have on the vehicle mode. He's got quite a nice fade effect from that Avalon Sunset to the orange plastic on bits. That's actually quite nice. It's just they seem to have forgotten the rest of the paint apps.
Yeah, I like the fact that they've got the outline of the flame effects, like they handed this toy to their child and went, do you want to just like pen in the outline to the flames? And went, yay, Daddy, I'll do that. Yay. This is...
Like, where's the rest of it, guys?
Yeah, we'll do it later. Yeah, this is a rough looking figure. It doesn't look good. Yeah, I'll take the smokescreen over this. And we did say that one looked a bit rough too, but it's better than this. This is terrible. And then the Easy Hot Rod from Japan, which they did it in the correct colors. I was when I saw Easy, I'll be honest, I thought it was going to be a horrible translucent figure. It's not.
This actually looks pretty great. I mean,
metallic colors. I think is that right?
Yeah,
metallic paints.
Yeah, metallic candy red or burgundy for Hot Rod.
Yeah,
nice. Lovely detail of the flame apps on the chest and the sides of alt mode. Gold bronze on the spoiler.
Oddly enough, the flame is not done in metallic paint. They're done in kind of the flat yellow, but it makes them stand out.
It does. It works for this particular figure. And gosh, that's nice.
I think this would be one of those figures where you probably could scrape it up pretty easily. I don't know. But since it looks mostly to all painted, You know. Oh, I tell you what they've done as well, because it's painted, the nub marks are not as aggressively visible on it either. You can still see them, but they've been painted over, so it's not quite as bad. So this one's the best version of the figure, clearly.
Yeah, definitely.
Easily. Wow. Hot Rod. Bless you. Wheelie's up next. I guess he's probably the best wheelie we've had in a while, because I would take this over the Titans Return wheelie, mainly because that was a floppy mess. That was a nightmare of engineering.
Really?
Oh, yeah. He was a floppy bitch.
Oh, mine was always fine. Never had a problem with mine.
Dave's was floppy as out, and I remember hearing a lot of people had issues with their wheelies in the future. Now, this is, again, a scout figure, so, it's not going to do a huge amount of crazy stuff. He's the correct orange. For some reason, Japan got it really wrong. Japan's version of Wheelie decided, I guess he was going to be sick that day, and he's turned like chicken soup yellow.
With a gold face for some reason.
I think it's silver, to be fair. I think
it's silver?
I think it is. I think, if you look at his nose, looks silver. It's just because
it's reflecting all yellow plastic.
Yes, his head's in shadow and reflecting all that really sickly yellow. I don't know what. And then the window screens on him are grey. I don't know what Japan was usually pretty good at doing their recolors and repaints, but this was just not accurate and bizarre. The standard wheelie is just like, it's okay. It's car mode, it's kind of cute. He does also have grey window screens for some reason, but at least it contrasts the orange better than the yellow, I suppose.
And to be honest, that paint on his face looks a lot cleaner than the Henkei version as well.
Yeah, it's because it's like just flat grey rather than metallic-y kind of silver, I suppose.
It's kind of a shame that, because if you look down at the Takara one, you can actually tell that his legs do actually have a bit more outward motion to them, which...
What do you mean?
Whoever photographed the stock version of Wheelie for the page, his legs are just kind of together. It almost looks like they don't come apart.
Oh, yeah, I see. Yeah, obviously they do, but for some reason they decided not to photo. I thought you were saying his legs didn't come apart, and I was mildly confused for a second. Because they do. Obviously.
Yeah. Actually, from what I'm looking at this wheelie, it's kind of grown on me from what I look at it.
Yeah. It's got pretty decent proportions. It obviously doesn't do as much as like the Titans Return version. And you could say the Titans Return version's more accurate as well, which is true.
I mean, Titans Return is for one I actually have. I haven't bought the Studio Series version.
Haven't you? You haven't bought Grimlock that comes with the obligatory one.
Oh no, I mean the the proper Studio Series wheelie.
I can barely remember that one, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, it looked fine, but it was a bit too... It was almost like... Do you remember DNA did the upgrade kit for Studio Series Grimlock?
Oh,
and it came with a whole new wheelie figure.
That's right, yeah.
The Studio Series wheelie just looked like a slightly better engineered version of that.
Ah, okay.
But it still had a lot of a blockiness to it.
Ah, right,
Whereas the TR one to me, the TR one just felt more weird. And like I say, I didn't have any problems with the joint on it. My one is fine. So if anyone else had issues with it, I get it, and no judgment there or anything. I can appreciate where you're coming from on that score. But for me, I'll stick with Time Return. If I didn't have that though, and I had this wheelie instead, I'd probably be quite happy with it because it looks...
It's good enough.
It's got the right colours. It's got the colours. It's got the head. It's got an adorable alt mode into one of those hot hatch concept ones with the open boot for the engine turbocharger.
Yes, I agree.
Which is a hilarious... I love that little touch. Someone clearly been watching too much Top Gear when they designed it.
I agree. I also like the fact it is a car with wheels. Yes. Yes.
Cargo broom, Andy.
Cargo broom. Yeah, I mean, obviously it's got its limitations, but I think for wheelie, it looks good enough, you know?
Yeah, I mean, if there's any one character that you'll take good enough, it's probably Wheelie.
Yeah, I don't think you need to aim for the stars. We don't need a commander class Wheelie, let's say. Though that would be interesting to see what they do for a commander.
Don't give Hasbro ideas.
When are we going to get a masterpiece Wheelie? What would they do?
Hasn't one of the third-party companies done like a masterpiece version of Wheelie?
Someone
or am
must
I just
have.
imagining it?
No, Fans Toys probably have, right? Because Fans Toys do loads.
Yeah.
Fans Toys, well, whoever it is, Fans Toys.
It's been and gone, and no one talks about it anymore because, well, it's Wheelie,
it's a third. Well, it's not just Wheelie; it's a third-party figure, and it just gets lost in the constant third-party stream of figures. Oh God,
yeah.
More and more and more and more and more. That's how it goes. Next up, we have Jazz. Jazz was always an okay one, and clearly ran out of budget for paint. Unfortunately,
yes. Well, they did the front and the top of the car, and then they realised they couldn't afford to do the rest of him.
They couldn't do anything else. They went, well, the side's done. He didn't get headlights. He didn't get anything on his sides. He didn't get colors for his window screens. I don't know why they just didn't have the money. I'm guessing the stripe going like all the way across the front of his bonnet to the back. Over his
seat, probably paint budget?
It must have.
It's a shame because it's a really nice alt mode. There's a lot of detail there that if they just picked it out.
I'm pretty sure at this point we started getting toy hacks, I think. Because I think there was a toy hacks upgrade kit for this. This was 2008. Toy hacks, I'm sure I was buying toy hacks within like 2 or 3 years of this. I'm sure.
Easy.
Yeah. And again, this is fairly okay. Nothing crazy crazy out there. The actual head mold, not too bad. It wouldn't be too long though until people would say, "I don't want to play with you anymore," and drop him in the bin. As Reveal the Shield Jazz came out not too long after this. To be fair, did it get remolded, recolored? No, it didn't.
Doesn't appear to have done.
No, a lot of these scouts just got kind of left by the wayside. They got done once and then tossed aside, I suppose.
I mean, I'm genuinely surprised this didn't get a Takara repaint.
Yeah, spruce it up a bit more.
Yeah, that genuinely surprised me. Just releasing it with all the missing paint tabs.
Hound. We got a Hound. Again, this came out in... it wasn't... what year was this? Was this 2009 as well? No, this was 2000. No, this was 2008. 1 year later, this would be thrown away for the Universe Hound, which we'll be talking about later. So this is kind of a sad. Well, I mean, you can tell he's sad because look at his little face mold. He's not happy about it.
This was a weird one because this and Jazz were both weird because one, they were traditionally large size figures released in the Scout class, like a year before. They had much better versions released, which was just bizarre. Yeah,
it's almost like when they randomly throw into like a Scouts line now, a Megatron or an Optimus Prime or another Bumblebee, and you're like, okay, but we got better versions of these. I guess this is... But which kid is going out there and being like, yeah, I want a Hound. I really want a Hound. Okay, 5-year-old, who is Hound? They're like, I don't know. But the collectors online all want Hound, baby.
I want a Willis Jeep that turns into a slightly snarky world-weary explorer with
5-year-old child. How do you know what the fuck a Willis Jeep is? How have you been watching MASH again, you little shit? Get out of here. Mr. White says, divorce class wheelie. All of your nightmares come true. Does divorce class wheelie cause divorces, or do you get divorced because someone owns him? So is that like a red flag? Like when she says, come round to mine, I collect 1 or 2 frogs, and a place is just full of frogs. Or is there a red flag where she says, I like to cut people, and you go, I mean, maybe, but I'll probably risk it. I like to kill my sexual friends. It's like, is it worth it? We'll see.
Look, there's no such deal breaker.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we could work on it. Apparently, this was recolored for Hunt for the Decepticons into Tracker Hound, and they made it black.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a bit boring, but not
He looks even more
inherently a bad color scheme.
No, he does end up looking even more depressed though somehow.
A tad. I don't know whether they could have used the naming conventions for this, but I would have gone with Jeeper Creeper. Jeeper Creeper? Is that his name from GoBots?
Yeah.
It's almost, I mean, it wasn't black. He was like really, 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 really dark green. Army green, which was almost black. But yeah, it's just like, what if he was black but had a gold line around him because Nest? It's like,
Yeah.
One of the boring movie repaints, which we've talked about before. Mr. White says divorce class is what Ben's Collectibles called a massive 6 foot Fort Max. Oh yeah, I saw you. Yeah. I saw you pick that up and wondered why. He got that because he wanted YouTube views. He didn't get that because he wanted to. Ain't no way.
I don't think he bought it. I think he said he got sent it.
Oh my god.
To review.
No one buys that because they want to. No one smart does that.
It's just for videos of people picking the damn thing up and just think it's almost as big as I am. I'm 6 foot tall.
Yeah.
I do not want a Transformer that outmasses me.
Yeah.
Because I'm not a small man.
No, I mean, if you're going to get something that's 6 foot, it's going to be like a movie suit, right? That's like, or like a one of those ridiculous like 6 foot statues that like the Chinese collectors have for their homes, that kind of stuff. Or like you've bought something from a video game store, where the video game stores used to get like promotional stuff from game companies, like the giant Space Marine, which came out for like Dawn of War 3 or something. Where they actually had a full on Space Marine. It wasn't one scale, but it's big.
No, but it was blinking huge.
Yeah, stuff like that. I guess that makes sense. Transformer that has articulation? Nah, that's silly.
Yeah,
that's silly. I think that's silly.
I mean, technically, he is actually scaled to Legends figures.
Yeah, technically. Yeah, you're not wrong.
But you do have to be. That's a figure that's a labor of love, both of the creators and whoever buys one of them.
I'm not sure if it's a creation of love. I think it's just a creation for the sake of we want to do the biggest Transformer ever.
All right, yeah, that's a fair point as well.
To me, that's how I feel, because it's like, the bigger the better. It's like, well, how about 6 foot? Is that better? Is it better? I don't know. Like, if it's absolutely loaded with silly, like, flip-out gun turrets and bizarre, like, things for Legend Scales figures to work with, okay, that could be kind of fun. Still incomprehensibly large and unwieldy and manageable, but what would you rather pick up and play? The 6 foot figure or like Silverbolt from Beast Wars?
Yeah.
I could bounce him on my knee and go, hello, ooh, tally ho, I'm a hero, blah, blah, blah. What can you do with a 6 foot tall robot apart from just look at it and go, well, hey, buddy, I hope you don't scare me during the night.
I mean, the upside is it makes anyone who's bought House-like Unicron feel better about themselves.
It's to make them feel justified. See, I'm not that bad. I don't have a 6 foot tall Transformer in my house. They're the weird ones. I've just got a how big was that one? 2 foot? 2 foot tall? 3 foot tall?
3 foot tall, I think.
3 foot. It was something like that. That was also super big.
Oh yeah, I mean, watching people try and display the damn things almost is hilarity in itself because
silly.
It just takes so much space.
Yeah, I take up enough space. I don't need another thing taking up space.
Yeah.
No. Let's move on. We got Warpath up next. A H-tank version, which granted, when it comes to tanks, we see, I think, too many H-tanks. We see a huge amount of H-tanks. But again,
too many nowadays. This was a bit of a novelty of a time, though. So.
I mean, Armada Megatron. I think Armada Megatron was still fairly fresh in people's minds.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like an oversaturation where it feels a little bit now, where there's a lot of H-tanks these days. Yeah,
this still could kind of ride the coattails of Halo and the Scorpion a bit, to be fair. And
again, this was the first Warpath since 1985. Sorry, 1985. So, fair, whatever. People were happy. The Japanese got the correctly colored Warpath in his burgundy
think there's might be a slight metallic flake to that as well. That's
Maybe,
paint or plastic.
maybe.
But it's a nice, that rich, dark burgundy, like you say. It's
America got like a very.
It's
America got Blood Angels red. Japan got not World Eaters, Word Bearers red.
Well, America got, or for West got Rogue Trader era Blood Angels.
Yeah, the good one. Yeah, that's what I mean.
But real, nearly orange.
Yeah.
Red, which is great in the right situation. Not so much for Warpath, sadly.
No.
Which is a shame because it's actually quite a nice design.
Yeah, it works pretty well. I didn't have this. I remember fiddling with it around at Dave's house. And I guess my only complaint is his legs are rather thin compared to his upper torso, which is quite big and stocky. I almost kind of wish his legs weren't as long and they were just wider. I think that would be quite good. But they got his good chest, which is the important part. And they got his face sculpt, which again looks correct. You know?
Absolutely.
No, this one's a good.
It's another one with and it looks like quite a nice and fun transformation they've gone for as well.
No, again, for the price point that you were paying for him.
Yeah.
XL Hedge says bigger than Titan class is too big. I don't disagree.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't disagree. To be fair, though, after this version of Warpath, we would, in 2 years, get a much better Warpath for the Generations one. So, that's I would say it's better than this. But this, again, it's nice. It's pretty good. It's probably one of the better scouts, I would say, of this era.
It looks it, yeah.
I think it might be. And then we had G2 kind of-ish sort of Megatron. Why do I say that? Because he is a tank Megatron, but he is not the G2 color scheme for Megatron. But he is very upset, and he does have a gun on the side of his on the side of his shoulder, which is important.
It's kind of weird because Brawn kind of has the right shade of green that this Megs needed, whereas Megs is the right sort of green that Brawn needed.
Yeah, it is kind of odd. He is military-esque green with splodges of purple. Like he's got the flare-up of the Blight from DS9 on him, but it's purple. I don't remember this one being a super good scout. I think it was, again, one of those ones that was fine. I'm pretty sure his fists were poking out of the back of his turret for the turret mode, and obviously the turret, I don't remember rotating. While Warpath's turret did rotate, I'm pretty sure Megatron's here didn't, which is always, a bit of a sad thing.
Yeah, I can see his fist poking out of back there, sadly.
Yeah. Like, he's not bad. It's just like, again, Micromaster style, kind of easy simplicity.
Yeah.
A couple of redos. We have the Chronicles Easy Collection Tank Megatron, which is the purple version, which is actually pretty good at. Has the old G2 Decepticon logo on, which I appreciate. Which one is this based off of? What Megatron? Because he had a name. It was the tank one, but it was the small one.
Yeah.
It's that one. Hero something Megatron. It had the air, for those not aware, is the one that had the air pump where you pushed on the air cannon.
I was going to say, does that have the air pump with it? Yeah.
It's that one. Whatever that one was called. You could argue it's not completely the right color because his head should be gray rather than have the purple helmet, but it's good enough.
Close enough.
Yeah. There was the Transformers Easy Collections EG06 Megatron, which was what if he was just Megatron colors with black camo, which is a bit more boring, to be honest.
Yeah. Harbinger of things to come, I think, this one.
Oh, yeah, technically, yeah, good point. XL Hedge says, Warpath deserves a leader class toy to do his G1 design justice. Come on, Studio Series Gamer Edition. That would be weird, because he'd be completely out of scale, right?
Depends how they use
the leader price point. I guess they could do him at a Voyager?
Yeah.
Yeah, and do him deluxe scale but Voyager engineering, maybe?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure Warpath is sort of figure that would warrant that sort of work.
No, I wouldn't say so.
You can do it for a hot rod because that'll sell, but Warpath is a bit more of an ask. Yeah,
he's not as he's not a main character in the movie. If he even appears in the movie, which he might do in the background for like 1 second, who knows?
Yeah, it's a shame because I've always had a soft spot for Warpath. He's fun.
Yeah, okay. I mean, he's tank. Tanks are usually pretty good, generally.
Yeah.
We now get to move out of the scout range, though, to the deluxe range with
Huzzah!
Prowl. Good old Prowl. There's a bit more things to talk about here, thankfully, now that we're moving on to bigger figures. And it's worth mentioning with Prowl, he's got a really weird neck.
He does.
For those not aware, his head sits upon a black plate, which was used to fold into his chest, and thus it just it's like that technique in the African continent, I think it is, where they put the rings on the necks to make it look like they're elongating the neck when they're just actually just ruining the spine. But it looks a little bit like that.
It really needs a little bit of an indent so that flap could kind of flip over and kind of dip into a recess.
Yeah, so you still have the black bit for the neck, but where it's not just resting on top of the hood of the car. The door butterfly wings are a little bit, I guess, scary as well, because that's just all translucent plastic that folds in on itself.
Yeah, I mean, none of mine have broken, but I don't think any one of these I've transformed, I haven't had the doors just pop off the ball joint.
Yeah, they definitely do that. I haven't heard of that either, where they like break, but it's a giant pin through two bits of translucent plastic, so it's always like
I mean, at least the connection for the ball point is nice and thick.
Yeah,
so
and it's not a closed ball joint either. Like I think that's probably why they pop off, because there's nothing really covering the top of the ball joint. So like you say, they just can just pop off. His shoulders are quite low set. He does have quite a bit of a like back panel cape thingy, and the paint for some reason on the back of his windows, which is just grey, always looked a little bit on the odd side. He's not a bad figure. He's just one where you go, it's just a.
This was them doing the Datsuns for the first time in like 20 years.
Yeah.
And taking the concept of Prowl and the other guys and just throwing all the engineering they could into it.
And for the most part, they emulated it correctly, I'd say. Like the head sculpt's really good.
I mean, for the time, I was kind of blown away by how complete it was. I mean, you got the shoulder cannons are integral and flip out. The gun can fold away and be stored in the vehicle mode.
That was very cool. I did like the flip out gun.
Yeah, there was one thing I did like about this period where they were trying to do that a lot more. They weren't. Because you didn't have the spring-loaded weapons of the classics line that sabotaged Hot Rod and some of the other guys. The guys like Prowl, they could just do a nicely designed weapon that could integrate into the alt mode.
Yeah.
In some way. And they did that with a lot of, especially the Autobot cars, it became a running theme. And I was quite enjoyed that. Because it meant you didn't have bits left over. Or bits you had to stick on the outside, stick in ports to say, oh, he's on. It's like, no, everything hides away. But no, not a perfect figure by any stretch. There are flaws. I mean, the fact that the legs always sit at a slight angle because of how they're designed.
Oh, yeah, I just noticed that. Yeah, it's almost like he's knock-kneed, right?
Yep. What do you say? The shoulders seem to sit low, but I think that's also a factor of how high the head sits because of that panel.
Yeah, I agree.
The two together don't work. If it was just one or the other, you'd probably get away with it. If the arms rested higher or the neck was lower, it wouldn't look as bad. But because you've got both of them where they are, it sticks out. But it gives you the silhouette. You got the way I know it's scary, but the way the side panels do fold up into the butterfly wings, the robot mode, it's how you've always imagined them looking in a way. And I mean, it's the fact that it's Prowl. It's G1 Prowl. It looks like G1 Prowl. It poses like an absolute champ. I mean, these are really nice figures once you in robot mode, they're actually real fun to mess around with. Once you're in car mode, they look great, although that transformation can be frustrating at times, especially with the arms. Get them folded up.
Yeah, that was always annoying.
But overall, the fact that this was the first wave of Generations 2.0, I think.
I'm pretty sure, yeah. I think he was the first. Well, I mean, he was obviously the first Datsun, and I think you're right. It probably had to come out in that first wave, I'm sure.
Yeah, and kind of again, much like Prime, Megs, and B, especially in Classics, this was a bit of a mission statement. It's like, yeah, this is Prowl. He's not a 1-to-1 G1 Datsun. Bloody close, though.
I don't think it stands up to like Bumblebee kind of quality. I think it's more for me at least. I think he dips more into, let's see, Grimlock-esque. I think he's better than Rodimus or Hot Rod or whatever he was called for the previous line. I think he's better than that. But I think there was a few too many issues just like with how the door panels kind of folded up. The fact
I can see that.
The car mode's okay, but then it's got a little bit of gaps here and there.
And the fact that you got so much translucent along the sides means that there's always color matching issues.
Yeah. So you've got issues there with that. It's one of those things. So I don't think it was a bad figure, but there were certain points on this where I was like,
it's one where you kind of wish they'd maybe, if it had a little longer to cook, or maybe if they'd actually done a proper redo of this particular figure, not just because it got retooled into the other Datsuns, so slightly different heads, slightly different weapons, but it never got given a proper full re-engineering. And I think if it had been given another go, it could have been something pretty special.
I mean, you brought up the other Datsuns. I think Silver Streak was straight away just, it looked better, it looked more coherent because it wasn't having to do white plastic. They'd painted over the translucent plastic with the silver, which obviously had a lot better coverage and helped kind of bring the vehicle mode together a little bit better. And because
just the fact that he's not pure white and black makes a hell of a difference.
Yeah, his neck joint being black kind of meshes into the black chest as well, which again helps. You can tell the head's still too high, but it helps blend it in a little bit better, at least tricks the eye a little bit.
Yeah.
Then there was they did Blue Streak as well. Oh, Smokescreen. The event, that's right. Smokescreen was a hard one to find, if I remember right.
Yeah, I think I have Smokescreen because a friend gave him to me. But it didn't come with the gun. So I think I gave him Dark of the Moon Smokescreen's stupidly oversized firearm instead.
Oh, as you do. And that one was okay. Again, there's a little bit of mismatching of colors, but they've got the 38 on, which is good enough. There's bits of paint apps here and there. I still think Silver Streak was the better version of this. But they did do a BotCon Rapido figure, which I did want because it was, Rapido. I didn't get it in the end. Lovely new head sculpt, but again, suffering the issues of this mold. Yeah, the head sculpt was perfect. You can ask much better.
I do like the use of that powder blue though. That on the limbs, but it's never normally been that color from what we've seen on the previous versions. That works real nice. That's a really nice color scheme.
Yeah, unfortunately, we've got mismatched red over the figure again from the doors, kind of not kind of matching up to the bonnet of the car, unfortunately.
And it's a shame because if one or the other matched, if the body matched the side panels or the side panels matched the body, I'd take either, to be fair. But as is, they just. Oh, that's frustrating.
And it's not it's not noticeable when he's in robot mode. It's really only aggressively in your face when it's in that vehicle mode because the colors are literally right next to each other rather than because it's mainly the doors. They're behind him. So it's not quite as in your face. Excuse me. At least I don't find it to be as in your face.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like Rapido. I'd like more Rapidos in the future. But the Datsun mold was not abused that much, thankfully.
No, they used it for who they needed to.
Yeah, and no one extra.
That was it.
Oh no!
Quite refreshing.
I was going to say, didn't they use this for Barricade? But no, that was Siege where they started doing prowls into barricades. Yeah. That's right.
Oh, they did another one as well. Street Star.
Street Star. Where did you find Street Star?
Uh,
Oh, there it is. There it is. BotCon 2010. Oh, I forgot all about this. Oh, because it's boring.
Yeah.
But what if he was mostly black? Almost all black. That's very dull. It's like a prototype version of Silver Streak, but with less color.
Yeah.
Is how it looks.
Yeah, and weirdly, they've managed to still end up with, besides not color matching the body of the car, and it's black.
Yeah.
How do you? That's weird.
I like the fact that on his groin he's got flashing lights. That's kind of fun in robot mode.
Yeah.
That's for the ladies to know you open for business, I suppose. Or that you have a disease, maybe. It's warning.
The name Street Star.
And I've got crotch rot. Oh, no. So that's that mold. Then we have what was lovingly, I remember, for the era called Meth Kitty. It was Cheetor.
Yeah.
This was... I never got this. I remember Nicole was sending us like care packages from America.
I have this.
And I'm pretty sure Dave chose to have the Beast Wars ones. And I was like, I saw this and went, I do not want this. And I'm glad because no one said anything good about this. It looks bad. Big D, how do you feel about Meth Kitty?
God, he's terrible. And it's a shame because there's glimmers of what they were trying for, and it just doesn't come together at all.
Let me throw out something nice about this. I think the cheetah mode is in some angles, we'll use that, in some angles better than the newest Cheetor figure that we have at the moment, not the Masterpiece one, the Kingdom one.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean,
I'll give it that.
They made it into a nice life kitty mode, which is really hard to do.
Yeah. It's not perfect, but from certain angles it looks pretty good.
They get an A for effort.
At least for the cat mode. In the robot mode.
And for robot mode, I mean, I could never work out if you were supposed to sand him actually on the paws of the cat feet, or like they've done here, fold, just used for bottom of the ankles.
I assumed he was meant to be kind of, because this gave me a lot of, like, for robot mode, Beast Machines vibe, like in terms of how thin his legs are. And his general proportion. So I was assumed like you were meant to put him on his like toes, effectively, like you were saying. He couldn't really stand like that, but I thought that's what they were trying to go for.
It's a shame because the thing is, I actually like the robot mode head sculpt. It's quite it's got a bit of the Transmetal 2 Cheetor to it. Merged with the Season 1 Cheetor, so it's a nice merging of at least two of his most notable designs. But man, this is just...
What was the spring for? I can't remember what the spring was for. I can see there is a spring gimmick just under his neck.
When you move the beast mode head, it flipped out the robot head.
Oh.
And when you transformed it back in, it hid the robot head automatically.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, this was the era of like getting Automorph into things, I suppose. So, yeah.
But then, I mean, the elbows are far too high up the arm, so they look weird.
Massive.
He's got huge forearms and very small biceps.
And he's got all that shell on the back of his arms as well.
Yeah.
It doesn't help.
It doesn't. I mean, there's some cute stuff like he's got the ninja discs that can store in his calves.
And why did he have ninja discs? I mean, it's not condemnation. It's kind of fun, but it's very much like but why?
I'm trying to remember, did he use those in Beast Machines?
No. He had his swords in Beast Machines.
That was right, yeah. I generally have no idea. And then this was like the start of Cheetor having his tail become a whip.
As you do.
Which...
Actually, when did Animated come out? Was that 2009?
I want to say 09, yeah. About then.
Because Prowl in that had ninja discs. And
he did.
Granted, these are not exactly the same kind of ninja discs, but maybe they just were like, well, we've got the technology where you flip out one of the pointy bits and they kind of all automorph outwards. Maybe that was it.
I mean, this was one of the examples of them trying to take an existing character and give him a bit of try something different with it.
Yeah, well, they tried to make it more accurate to the animal form and less like the weird thing that they did for the original toy, which is fair enough.
Which fair shout, but it's just the execution.
It's rough. It was like I said, meth kitty for a reason because nobody liked it. Nobody liked it. You could probably get this pretty cheap still. I'd laugh though if this was like 50 quid now because it's like no one wanted it, so it's become rare. That'd be kind of funny.
Did I buy it when I might have bought it when it came out? To be fair.
Oh, full price. Damn.
No, it wasn't that expensive. It wasn't that expensive at the time.
Well, no, back then it would have been like, well, Universe was like. That was when they was starting to up the price of things. So it was starting to go from like £12 to like 14 to 15.
I think I'd probably pay about 15 for it. Maybe.
That sounds about right. Yeah, you probably spent like $14.99. I'm guessing.
I know that one of the local comic shops was one of the few places to get any of this line in, and they were charging like 20-25 quid a pop.
Bitch.
Yeah.
Woo.
Yeah,
that's almost today's prices.
that was the import duty on that one, mate.
Oh, was it Forbidden Planet?
No, we've never had an FP in Swindon, oddly enough.
Oh, okay. So you haven't been gouged specifically by Forbidden Planet. You've just been gouged by a different comic company.
Well, not on this. I've been gouged by them for other stuff.
That sounds about right. So yeah, Cheeto, never used again. Has been lost to the eras of time, for better or for worse, I suppose. We have Sideswipe next. Technically, Sunstreaker came first, so I guess we could talk about Sunstreaker first. This is a really good mold. Unfortunately, straight away worth mentioning, mismatched yellow paint over translucent plastic that doesn't obviously match his molded yellow plastic. And it's very, very, very in your face because it's yellow paint on his chest.
It's his chest.
Yeah, you can't avoid it. And it's a shame because this is I'd say this is more of what I would consider a statement. This is like a really good figure, and not only because of this, but because of what they did to make it into Sideswipe as well. It's really smart. But we'll get onto that.
I mean, I was just watching Chris McFeely yesterday put up his first video of the new year, and it was on Sunstreaker.
This one, or just the character?
Just the character, and he goes into the fact that this toy has basically been Sunstreaker's default design for like the last 15 years.
Yeah.
In all the comics he's appeared in, he's used this design.
Yeah, okay.
And it's true. Sideswipe evolved, but Sunstreaker has been using this same design pretty much right through IDW's run, ever since Hasbro released it.
It's a pretty decent design, to be fair. It works. It is.
I mean, it's nice to go. I mean, there is. I don't know if you've ever had, but I've got him and Sideswipe, and their ankles have a tendency to get a little floppy from over time.
Yeah, but weren't there like clicky joints or something, whether you click them in place? Because you fold them inside the leg, and they got a little bit. They could get stuck in there, and they could be a bit fiddly to get out, which was
because they're on like an armor, so you have to fold out to get into place. It can be a bit weird.
Yeah.
But it's a really nice design for stuff like how you swivel the car roof and the head comes up and goes down again.
Automorph, which we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Which is neat.
Yeah, it's an example of it actually not being intrusive.
No.
Being a really nice function.
Yeah.
The side panels on the arms can be a little awkward, but the fact that they are on these swivels around the forearms, so you have options for how you want to display them, and then they in turn can fold backwards. So you've got it's a mold that gives you so much to do.
And would you say the picture here is not doing it great justice? Because I'm sure those arm panels should be pointing upwards. His shoulder looks like it's not exactly like if you're looking at the picture, the right hand side looks like it's not transformed correctly either.
I mean, the chest is a little off center as well.
Yeah.
So I think I don't know if it might just be the quality of the version they've gotten to use for these pictures. So I'm pretty sure actually, no. What's thrown me a little bit is Sideswipe, because of how his chest is designed. You see much more of his hips.
Oh, yeah,
Whereas on
yeah.
Streaker, the chest kind of dips down a bit.
That's right.
Can make him look a little unfinished.
Mm.
But no, I do think this could have been photographed a bit better, to be fair, because
Yeah.
it's a significant figure, because I think you're right. It is much more of a statement than Prowl was. I remember when they announced this, the pictures did browse on the internet and people lost their minds.
Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, it was a really good figure. We hadn't seen something this nice for these characters since, again, the original figures, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I mean, Sunstreaker hadn't had a toy since his original, and he was the original.
No, he technically had. If I want to be picky, apparently Alternators Sunstreaker came out 3 years earlier. But yeah, you know, it's really they hadn't, because you know the Alternators were they were a thing.
But it's real fun how the designers made it so it could be both brothers.
Yeah, all you had to do was effectively turn it round. Yeah. And all they had to do was pop the arms off and swap the arms around effectively, and just like inject the plastic differently. It's really smart. The classic joke for many years on Moonbase 2 was, obviously, I got the care package from Nicole, and I had my sideswipe in, and it had no head. And because back then, you would not know that it was headless because they came packaged in vehicle mode. So I remember rotating that chest and be like, "Oh, here comes the head." That's the head. So that was
oh dear.
That was a fun thing. But yeah, this figure is really good. I don't like the gun. The gun always felt a little bit widdly and lame for him, I suppose.
Yeah.
Obviously,
I mean, there's a reason. There's a reason that these guys were kind of the centerpiece of one of the early upgrade kits third party were doing.
Yeah.
Because people wanted the shoulder cannons, better rifle, all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we didn't even mention how cool the vehicle mode is.
Oh yeah, the Lambo mode for both of them is bloody gorgeous.
Lambo.
Yeah, the Lambros.
It's not a Jag though, a Jag. But yeah, they're very swish, sexy cars. Both of them.
They are. They both have that turbo engine on the top, which actually works nicely for.
I never knew quite what to do with it for the vehicle for the rubber mode. For Sideswipe, for Sunstreaker, you put it on his back.
For Sunstreaker, it's his over the top engine things. For Sideswipe, I use it as his jetpack.
Okay. Because the engines were
the way up.
The silver pieces were separate parts that could swivel downwards slightly. I always wondered why were they on those swivelly joints.
You can combine it with the gun.
Effectively,
if you fold those bits down, they do actually clip onto the sides of the gun.
I can never get it to clip. I did try and do that because I'm sure I heard that, but I don't think that was that in the instructions or not.
I cannot remember. I think it might have been for Streaker, but not Sideswipe.
Okay.
Because I know there was one of them. It was more often displayed as in that configuration than the other.
Oh, fair enough. Simon Tang says, yes, I spent money to buy Henkei Red Alert. It's really nice. We'll talk about that in a moment. To go with Henkei Inferno. Exelhead says, City Series 86 Sunstreaker and Sideswipe when. Well, they're technically in the movie. They're flying the shuttle, so yeah, I mean, it'd be nice to have some nice fancier versions of them, to be fair. And Mr. Weiss says, I just remember the yellow paint was such an obvious fail. Yeah. Well, Hasbro didn't get that right for many, many years and still kind of fucks it up now. So, you know.
Yeah. I mean, yellow's always the...
And yeah, the arm panel should have been tweaked a bit in the photo. I have the BotCon breakdown version. Really love that model. I could never get the gun to combine to work either. So it wasn't just me. Good, I'm glad. So, in terms of redos, we have the punch counter punch, which was a pretty fucking smart thing to do for this mold.
Yeah.
Was it perfect?
Yeah.
No.
But it was fun.
It was good enough, I'd say. You got you got punch, you got counter punch, and you got the vehicle mode, and it's pretty accurate.
And it was a clever use of the mold, which only needed. I mean, when you think about those two characters, or that punch counter punch, normally you'd expect something to have completely unique tooling, but this, they could just do a head swap, and sure, some of the details aren't one-to-one match, but it's close enough.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this being the collector's club, that's all they could really do for the most part.
Yeah.
They weren't Hasbro.
No.
The only real issue is because the head has to be 2 heads. It looks a little bit small compared to like Sideswipe's head.
Yeah.
But again, for like a fan convention kind of figure, this was really good. They also put on rub signs because you know why not?
Yeah.
People love rub signs. You stupid fans love rub signs, right? Well, there you go. You don't get 1, you get 2 rub signs because you got the Decepticon rub sign and you got an Autobot rub sign.
Yeah.
Both of them. So fun, neat things.
If you want to be saucy, you can turn the heads around. So
it's wrong.
Yeah.
Oh no. Yeah, you could do that. There was also to do the figure Mr. White mentioned, which was Breakdown, G2 Breakdown.
My eyes.
Yeah, it's a good version of Breakdown with a brand new head who looks super grumpy. Super duper grumpy.
I mean, if you were painting those colors, wouldn't you be?
No, I'd be happy. I love these colors. They gave him a really interesting because I don't think the blob on the top, because they painted the top of the car with like this blood jam kind of look, and I don't think that was on the original figure. Was it?
No, I don't think so.
Let's have a look. No, it was. You can barely see it, but it was on there. Yeah, They don't have a top-down angle, but you can just see like there's something there. So I guess it was accurate. I apologize, Botcon. Yeah, this is again really nice looking. If you're into the G2 look, if you don't like the G2 look, well, you'd be like Big D and have an aneurysm or something. But this is very hot pink.
It's fine. It's some really lovely color work going on here, though.
Yeah.
Not my bag, but if it is, you're in for a treat.
This is my toothpaste color pink at the moment for the brand of toothpaste that I use. Very pink. I can't remember what it is. I can't remember the brand I use, but it's not one of the standard brands. So you had him. There's also Generations Red Alert, which is not the Henkei version, but he's using the Sideswipe head, and he's looking very upset. With a load of paint apps, and also they've got the siren fin part from Prowl, from the Universe 2.0 Prowl, and they've just blobbed that on the top of the vehicle. They used incredibly translucent windows, which I don't think was a good idea on it, to be fair. But
yeah,
never mind, because you can just see his internals. But he's got a nice spread of colors. Like he is red and white and gray, but they've actually colored the vents on his legs red. So again, it's not just gray legs. It's pretty decent color breakup, I think, for the most part on this. For a Red Alert, who again, it's like who cares about Red Alert? Usually not a lot of people. And then there's the Henkei version, which Simon mentioned, which was more accurate. The American version had a black head, while the Japanese Henkei version had the red head with the silver face and more of the cartoon accurate details. Also had a new siren as well on the top, which is kind of interesting.
I'm just thinking, I can't remember which version of this I own now of Red Alert.
Is it in a box somewhere?
Yeah.
You sound
It's
sad.
not a box I can get to easily.
You sounded really depressed. You were like, yeah. And then I imagine you like wantingly looking over at a pile of boxes, like he's in there. He's in that pile of boxes somewhere. So
I think he might be in a wardrobe that's behind a stack of Gundam kits taller than I am.
Used Gundam kits, right? Ones you've built, right? Right? They're built right. You've nipped them out of the sprues, right? Anyway.
Some of them.
For the Henkei, his gun is chromed, and then his spoiler is also chromed.
Yeah, they did like their chrome in the Henkei line.
Yeah, it was a defining feature, which okay. I think they should have dropped that, to be fair, because
sometimes they tended to overdo it, but sometimes it was just right.
Yeah, you can tell here that they just were like, fuck, I don't know. Spoiler, yeah. Gun, yeah, that'll do.
Yeah,
that'll do.
Chrome
him up, and then there was the subscription service breakdown. Maybe this was the one Mr. White talked about, where this was G2 breakdown. But what if it was normal colored instead?
Yeah, I mean, if you've done that head sculpt, you might as well do the regular version.
Yeah, pretty much. So that's what the Collectors Club did. They just went, well, normal color. The vehicle mode looks really good. Really good. The windows are completely opaque, which is preferable,
nice.
I'd say. And he's all consistent colors. Even the white looks fairly consistent to the white plastic.
That's a real nice white they've gone for as well.
Yeah.
Got a nice creamy texture.
Yeah, it's not pure white. It's definitely I guess creamy white.
I'm trying to think because this came out after Hasbro did that special release of Drag Strip out of Mirage. Didn't the Collectors Club end up doing most of the Stunticons of a Motormaster?
No, I think this was about it. At least for Chug stuff, they obviously did it for the the animated set.
Yeah,
but I don't think they did the rest of the
that's a shame.
I don't think. If someone wants to correct me, I'm happy to eat crow, but I don't think that was ever done. Mr. White says, no, I have the G2 version that Big D will appreciate, or the next podcast is void. Well, there you go. Threat is spoken.
Well, that's a threat and a half.
You know, Mr. White, you don't have to threaten Big D. What you could do is just hold his head under water until he agrees with you, you know? That's the adult way to do it, if you ask me. But yeah, that's this is probably the mold I think was maybe used the most out of Universe 2.0. Maybe, I
think so. Yeah, it outside of the Seeker mold, this one probably got the most use. Just because it was so useful. I mean, you've got 3 characters off the bat from G1 you could use it as.
Yep.
And then
Bokon had a good idea and made 2.
Yeah.
And that was it. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm kind of surprised it didn't get a G2 Sideswipe repaint, though.
Yeah. I think at this point, G2 Sideswipe was just not a thing people really were worried about. They were like, whatever. Yeah. This was before like Hasbro went into full like, we need to repaint everything 5 times minimum.
Yeah.
Get it out there. Next up, we have a very sad boy. He's not desperately good. It's a Deluxe Tankor or Octane.
This one hurts because they tried, bless them.
We talked quite well, I think, about Astro Train the last time we did this. And I think we did mention or at least allude to Octane not being very good.
Yeah.
Again, this was one that Dave decided from the box of figures he wanted, and I was like, that's okay. And it felt like Dave took yet another L, and I was happy for him to take it, because I remember having a fiddle with this. And there are some elements in this which I'm like, I can see what they're trying to do. They just didn't do it very well. Unlike Astro Train.
I have them over on the shelf next to Classics, Astro Train, and Generations Blitzwing. And he stands right. He looks right on the shelf, but oh god, damn, is it a mess?
It really does look like he's too small.
Yeah,
it looks like that if you made him bigger, you could increase those arms to a bigger size. And just make his proportions look cooler, and obviously it would help for the transformation because you can fiddle around with making it a bit more interesting. Because I like the idea of having the wings on his back. I like that. That looks quite nice. The giant shoulder pads are a little bit much, and then a lot of detail just kind of gets lost in his chest.
I mean, I actually like both the alt modes.
Well, I don't like the truck mode.
Well, the truck. If it just could cover up a bit more of, the body would be nice.
How about this? I like angles. I like angles of the truck mode. Like you say, if you look right at the front of it, it's not bad. If you look if you're not looking down on it at all, if you're looking if you put your head on the table and look at it directly from the side, you're like, oh yeah, okay, it's kind of a futuristic-y kind of truck, and it's got a gun on the side. Okay,
the front, the side, and maybe the back. Any other angle, nah.
Yeah, if you've got it lower than your eye level, it starts to fall apart a little. I think the plane mode does a little bit better. The most irritating thing about this figure is the fucking cow catcher. Yeah. The giant claw, which is an essential part of his transformation, which he can barely hold. He can't hold this giant claw thing very well, and it effectively makes up the entire back part of his truck mode and the underside of his jet mode. And I guess the idea is they're trying to recreate the shield part from the original toy, but don't. Don't do it.
Yeah, I mean, the guns are quite nice.
Yeah,
the
I like
guns
the
he comes with.
They feel like kind of flak guns, which I like. Like they look nice.
Yeah.
I do like the rotors for the jet mode as well. Again, the jet mode from angles, mostly from below eye level. Again, opposite to the truck mode, below eye level, it looks good. When you get down to the eye level, it's very weird because you see that cow catcher on the back. You see the back of the jet, which has the giant front of the truck mode there, and looks a bit weird. And then the front of the jet is a bit almost like what was that jet from back in the day called? Bungie the jet. Do you remember that?
Budgie the jet.
Budgie the jet. Looks like a Budgie the jet character, you know, when they make the face of the plane huge so they can shove a human face on it. Kind of like that.
It's let's say we talked about it before. If it just been a size class bigger.
Yeah.
But
I think the Titans Return version, though flawed, is obviously a lot better than this. They had a lot more to work with. This is a not very good figure, unfortunately.
Sadly not.
Better than Cheetor. But that's not a, you know.
That's not high praise.
No.
No.
That's a way, you know. You're not dog shit, you're just mostly shit.
Yeah.
Mold wasn't reused. Can't imagine why. But he was done once.
Yeah. And not even Takara wanted to take another stab at it, so
no, they went like, fuck it. Fuck off.
Yeah, we're not going to waste paint on this.
Yeah. Our fans are more discerning, even though Transformers is mainly aimed at children. They're not going to want this shit. So yeah, unfortunately,
however, we go from possibly one of the weaker releases to
the figure Mikey inexplicably hates or doesn't like or didn't like.
Oh really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure as Mikey didn't like this. I remember talking with someone, and they were like, "I don't like this figure." I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about? This was a great for the time when this came out. It was a great figure."
Yeah,
Cyclonus. For those not watching the show, issues with the figure. Okay, so the parts where the shoulder connect to the chest, they should have been a much stronger joint or connection
they
point.
Do have a tendency to unplug if you move the arms at all, which is a frustration, but
that's an issue. The inexplicable choice of colors. Absolutely inexplicable color choices on this figure. I mean, because it's not even toy accurate.
No, I mean, I actually like the colors. Just it's not a Cyclonus color scheme.
I don't find them coherent, and it's mainly because I don't like the purple. Okay, so you got the. You've got one gray for the wrist. Sorry, for the hand. You've got another different gray for the wrist.
Yeah.
Then you've got another different gray for the bicep. And then you've got the attempt to do that gray for the abdomen, but it's painted. So it looks weird as well. So from the wrist, you got that gray. You've then got the purple. Then going into the lighter gray for just below the elbow joint. The elbow joint goes to that weird off, like it's been in the light too long gray. Then it goes to the purple for the shoulder. Then it goes to the chest, which has the light gray again. The center part of the chest, which is then the purple again, and then back to the other side of the arm. There's just a bit too much going on, I think, color wise.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's not like interesting colors. It's like a very, very dark purple, a light gray, a darker gray, and then a out in the sun gray. It's bizarre. But I don't think it's bad. It's just too much.
I mean, now you've pointed them out to me. I can't unsee that now, which is a shame because
it's the worst version of this mold, I would say, or the worst colors on this mold. They do get better from here, and I think they use a really good base because I think the base of this character and what it does apart from the shoulders is really good.
The only thing I do every time I've ever fiddled with it and makes me wonder what they're thinking. Why has he only got one hand that can hold anything?
inexplicable fucking reasons. There is no reason why he didn't have a 5mm peg hole for his other hand. If his hand was gesturing, okay, all right, fine.
All right, yeah. I could accept that, but it's just a fist.
It's just a fist for no reason. I don't know. I'd love to ask a designer that could maybe explain it, because I'd like to have a good explanation. A cool feature was he came with an accessory. He came with nightstick. Yep. What a fucking deal. You got a pretty solid robot mode, a transformation, and then also a target master with a working gun.
And not a bad target master either, to be fair.
No, he's somewhere. He is better than the individual target master releases for the weaponizers. What was that? Titan's Return?
The Siege ones.
Was it Siege? Oh, it was whatever.
Yeah, it was Siege.
Whatever it was. Yeah, it was them. This is better than that. It doesn't have as much articulation because none of it's ball jointed, but the transformation is more satisfying. Yes, he does have elbows.
Which is, I mean, he's not as good as the target master came with the Takara.
No.
Guys.
No.
But he's miles better than the ones they did for Siege.
Yeah, where Hasbro half-arsed it completely in air.
Yeah. Which boggles my mind, to be fair.
Yeah, because this was a crazy thing to get effectively for free.
Hell yeah. I mean, no one expected to get a Target Master in 2008, 2009?
No, especially with Cyclonus. You're like, Cyclonus. No. It's like, all right, you'll just have a gun. Fair enough.
I mean, hell, the most notable thing about him being a Target Master was that in the comics, Shockwave crushed it.
Oh.
Literally. Yeah.
He crushed Nightstick?
Yeah.
Oh. That's sad.
Yeah.
It's like crushing a puppy. A puppy that turns into a gun, but a puppy nonetheless.
I mean, in fairness, Cyclonus had been trying to shoot him at the time, but it was...
He's alive, though. That's the thing that makes it different from just crushing a normal gun. He lived for a moment.
Absolutely.
The nice thing about the figure as well is obviously if you fold the hands away, there was a slot where you could then have Nightstick plug into the base of the wrist. Which was, for those not aware, that was a thing specifically for the Japanese Headmaster show, because they didn't hold the guns. The guns transformed effectively into a fist. I don't know why Japan wanted that for their thing. I think it made them less effective. Whatever. Yeah, fine. If I want to be critical about the jet mode, I would say the back of it wasn't super coherent. Just because the legs did this weird thing of splitting apart, and there wasn't a smooth transition from how the shoulders and legs kind of meet together. They did peg together. They were stable. It's just like shape-wise, they didn't kind of flow.
There was a lack of cleanliness to it.
Yeah, there wasn't like a nice smooth... Like if you look at like the Sideswipe figure, when you look at the door, it's not stuck out and janky and everything. It's just like, oh yeah, this is part of the car. Where this is...
And in fairness... Part of the reason it stands out so much with Cyclonus is because otherwise it's a phenomenal jet mode for because it's actually quite clean from almost every other angle.
It's pretty accurate for how he looked as well originally.
Yeah, and there's some neat stuff. There's some real neat stuff they've done to get him to look like that. So
yeah, they did a lot here. Mr. White says, "You are right. Mikey hated this. I loved Hom." Him, I think he meant him simple. I loved him simple, effective it was. Yeah, I'd say so. Axel says, JJ the jet plane, my favorite. Why only one fist hole, Cyclonus? At least he could use the Target Master in both Season 4 and Headmaster style. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It was neat for that fact. The Henkei version came out. Everybody then went, I don't want to play with you anymore, and did the Annie dropping me. Even though technically... this wasn't the correct Cyclonus either, because this was very, 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 very lilac.
Yeah.
This was the lilac that you get on cleaning products or like house scent things, and you're like, it's more coherent, which is good. It has some nice like metallic wings, and the jet mode looks okay, but it's not accurate. Nightstick. 100% accurate to how at least the original toy looked, and he had the chrome on his legs, which was pretty cool. Best version of Nightstick, probably, but the Cyclonus was just slightly off. And if you look at the jet mode, the front of the cone is closer to the color that he should have been, I think, than the rest of the actual plastic color, which is interesting. What do you think of the Henke version?
I agree. Overall, it's not a bad color, but it is just off slightly. It's very weird because I think, if I remember rightly, it wasn't just the nose cone that slid out that was a softer plastic. I think the whole of that nose cone assembly may have been a slightly softer material.
No, it was only the grey bit that was, because it had to be slidey. Yeah, the rest of it had to be. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that was a hard plastic as well.
It's just odd that is such a different color to the rest of it. It's not even an attempt to get a fade in to get around it that way. It's just
it was
weird.
Odd. It was an odd choice. And it has. Sorry, Takara had this weird thing of doing this with Cyclonus and Cyclonuses, Galvatronese, and Shockweavies, where I think they sometimes went a little bit too light on the color every now and again, while Hasbro went way too dark. Takara went way too light. So there was the Gentai Strafe remold of this. Well, not remold. This was a DVD exclusive, I think, which they went. It's Shattered Glass Cyclonus, so he's bizarre. He's white and orange and red. He's toothpaste colors. All over the shop. I guess it's kind of strafe colors. It's just like his robot mode looks like Cyclonus. Do you like it, Big D? You love it?
It's fine.
And Knights. Oh, sorry, Rocketbot, not Nightstick. Rocketbot has flamboyant golden shiny pants. Very much like what I imagine Hammerman used to have. And then he's also got bright orange shoes and a bright orange groin. And then just like his normal torso, which is black, and then an orange like face and a red visor. So it's interesting. I would have called him Hammerman, to be honest. Coloring him his pants like that. I would have done. There was also the Collectors Club Shattered Glass Cyclonus, which is similar, but a little bit different, as it's primarily hot rod colors rather than strafe colors. That's what I think they were going for. So he's red, gray, and orange. This one looks, I think, a little bit more coherent. Not good, but a little bit more coherent. However, Nightstick goes into Cronix. Yeah. This guy, he's not as good as Hammerman, I'm afraid. He's a very red gun, already with a very red friend. So he just kind of mushes in and blends. What do you like Shattered Glass Cyclonus, Big D?
I like what they were going for. The fact that they have basically a hot rod color scheme, that's actually kind of cute.
I like that you mostly got the shit in the toilet. You didn't get it all in the toilet, but you got most of it in. I appreciate that. I can see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like,
so
this became a thing, though. I think after this, they started doing this more, and I was like, stop. This is not how it should be. These colors do not work for Cyclonus with this head.
Yeah.
Not to me. There was the E-Hobby United Cyclonus, which was another Japanese version, but what if he was translucent plastic? Oddly enough, in a fairly accurate, well, mostly fairly accurate translucent purple. His arms are a lighter translucent purple, but like his shoulders and torso are probably, if it wasn't translucent purple, I'd say closer to the correct color scheme for Cyclonus.
Right? Yeah, I mean, just having this much translucent as ever scares bejesus out of me.
Oh, yeah.
I'm glad I don't own any of these, but it's a fun mix of shades.
Yeah.
I dig it. I mean, clearly they're intending the different shades of translucent to represent, that fade effect of the whole, whatever Unicron did to them.
Are they? Because like his legs are like dark purple again.
I think. I mean,
like I get where you're coming from. Logically, that makes sense.
I think the legs are darker just to make the jet mode more cohesive.
Maybe
it wouldn't work.
Yeah, it's just weird that like you say, if they were going for that style, that does make a lot of sense. That's how they would do it. It's just then it's like the legs are dark purple. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
I mean, it's fun that it exists. Not for me, but I'm sure there are folks who love these translucent figures.
That's what my parents said to me. It's fun that you exist.
Ouch.
Is it fun that I exist? They also did BotCon 2014. They did Ferrak. I almost forgot his name. Ferrak became the new Hasbro color scheme because we did get Ferrak from the Kingdom one, right? In the Star Raid. Yeah, that's right, because they slightly remolded him so he had new guns. And I don't think it's...
And a new head.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
New head, guns to go on his wingtips, and actually in a really nice grey colour scheme. With hints of orangey red. And
don't get me wrong, I don't think it's like a crazy good colour scheme. It's better than the previous colour schemes that we've had.
It's one, but I wasn't sure about it in hand, the current one, until I had it in hand, and then it was like, oh, this is nice.
I think because he's meant to be part of this pirate crew, I think having some, you know how like Cannonball had stupid tampos on him? I think like putting some stupid tampos, especially on his shoulders.
Yes.
Like a pirate flag or something stupid would be quite fun.
Especially if there's so much space there for him to do something.
Maybe you could have like, because he's a pirate, have like a big heart with like a bolt going through it, or like I love my mum, that kind of thing. Or like maybe you have like a Shockticon, but with like a cross through it, like he's scratched it off. Like that's how many Shockticons I've killed. It's a tally. Something silly like that could have been quite fun. Yeah. Obviously more expensive. And he's got his mate Torpedo. Good name for a pirate friend. It's pretty good. But he is a little bit boring. He's just grey and black and white. Just like it's fine. But Ferrak, he became a thing over the years, and it's not terrible. There's also Nightstick got recolored for Nightstick. Oh, okay. So Nightstick got thrown in with the United version of Artfire, and he was thrown in with Stepper as well from BotCon. Okay, that's fair enough.
Yes, yeah.
They're lying here because I know there's one more version of this mold that was used, and I don't know why it's not. Oh, there it is. It's part of the Reveal the Shield set, which is arguably the most accurate that this mold got. And this was the reason why people wanted this set.
I own the original version of this Cyclonus and the Reveal the Shield version.
I only have the original because I didn't want that 3-pack. Because it was one figure I wanted and two absolutely dog shit figures, which was the Rodimus and the Galvatron.
Yeah, I got the version that only came with Cyclonus and Hot Rod, so...
that was something at least.
I only had to buy it for one crap figure.
This is... I think it's easy to say this is the best version. He does have like a slightly purpley purple for a very small amount of his shoulder, which is almost not noticeable. His forearms, and then his knees, and then for the most part, he is a version of Cyclonus's color scheme. Why do I say a version? Because the animation and colors were not consistent, but this was clearly the closest one that we had to an accurate Cyclonus, and it's good. It's good.
It is, and that touch of that darker shade they put on the shoulders does help it blend into the arm pods when they're transformed, so it's not as sudden.
And it's not just one color as well, which is nice.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of flair, but it's not aggressive. It's not like painting them bright yellow where they'd stand out more, but you'd be like, come on now. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, I ended up buying the upgrade kit.
Is that the one to make him into IDW version? Or was that a different one? Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Fair
one
enough.
we came with tailgate as well.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, that's right. Okay. But that's it for this mold. This is... I think this is... Who's right left? No, I'm happy to say this is one of the best molds of this Universe 2.0 wave.
I would agree. I'd agree with that.
I was quickly looking at the names of the other ones we've got left to do, and I'm like, no, he's better than the next one. A lot better than the next one. A lot better than the one after that. He's a lot better than the one after that as well. He's better than the one after that. He's better than that one, definitely. And then we're on to the Voyagers, and I'd argue he's better than them as well, mostly. So yeah, he might be the best figure of the wave.
Ooh, that's...
Can you think of a one that's better offhand?
You know what? I think you might be right.
Again, I'm looking at the names. I'm like,
all the others, their niggles are much more drastic. This one, sure, there is that thing you mentioned where the arm, the shoulders plug into the torso. That can sometimes come loose, but it's if you know about it, you can account for it. The hand, the one closed fist and one.
Yeah, that's not a massive negative. That's just baffling.
Yeah, but otherwise, honestly, if you own this figure in any incarnation, you have a really solid figure.
Unless you're Mikey, who just hates it for no good reason.
Well, no one's perfect.
Well, no, he's Irish. Of course he's not perfect. Come on now. So, I don't want to jump onto Onslaught. So next up, we've got Dinobot, who is definitely not better than Cyclonus. He is better than Meth Kitty Cheetor. Again, a tad bit of a condemnation, but he is better than dog shit. Again, I think the Raptor mode is what they were aiming to make good. And it's not good, but it's for the time period, I can let it slide. I mean, especially for a deluxe, because the reason why Kingdom was as good, which I never got around to getting, so it vanished before my eyes. But I hear the Kingdom version is good, so I will. It's
really good. It's very nice.
I will believe people because it looks good, and I just missed out on it. That was a Voyager. This is a deluxe. It was a Voyager, right?
Yeah, Voyager class. Yeah,
this is a deluxe. So although this is, it almost like if you spread his legs out, it almost looks like he's been ran over by a car. He looks quite flat. Almost in places. And he's got a little bit of a derpy looking Velociraptor face where it looks like someone's asked him a hard maths question.
He does, yeah.
Yeah. It's okay. I don't know why they decided to include a insignia swapping gimmick, so you can either have him aggressively as a Predacon or a Maximal. Because that's all they did. You just flipped it around. It was kind of like the early Skyfire toy that we got for Siege. But that one made more sense. It didn't make sense.
Yeah, I think someone got real hung up on those first few episodes of Beast Wars.
Yeah, but they didn't even have an insignia in that show.
No.
And someone was really wanted to get Dinobot's Velociraptor head to be his chest. And they got it. It just didn't work as well as I think they were hoping it would do. As it's even then, it's quite gappy somehow. What do you like about this figure, Big D?
I mean, they get points for giving him his tail shield what's it?
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. It's not accurate because they've added an extra bit to it, but you're right. Yes.
Yep. I mean, at least it's not disturbingly fleshy looking as the one they gave the Kingdom version.
Are you saying you prefer the color scheme to the original one? Because it is technically a little bit more accurate than the original toy that came out.
It does look more like you could imagine it being an actual lizard as opposed to what they went with
for the original toy, which was, again, flesh-colored for some reason. But it's not accurate to the original mold of Dinobot, though, or like how he looked in the show for some reason.
Because, I mean, for yellow, they've used this weird pearlescent metallic almost.
Kind of mustardy yellow kind of color.
Yeah, and then, I mean, the face isn't painted terribly well.
No, it's painted purple for some reason with the mustardy, goldy colored head. Which is like, but his face is blue.
Well, it's not even that. It's the fact that, I mean, for the version they've used here, the paint's
it's mostly not on the figure.
Yeah, it's like a stripe down the middle of his face, and it's like he's wearing war paint.
It is actually, yeah, that's a good point. You can see where the mouth is molded, And it looks like there might be molded teeth in there, but you can't fucking see it. And it's not being highlighted at all. And yeah, around the cheek where it looks like more of this paint should have gone, they just didn't. It's just not painted.
Yeah.
It's not even painted completely around his eyes either. So this was an unfortunately really bad paint job. And inexplicable because it's not correct at all.
Yeah. And it's such a shame because I remember when, again, this was Dinobot, the most popular character really from Beast Wars. And people were kind of jazzed to see what we'd get. And
I mean, just scroll down to the Henkei version. The head looks way better from the Henkei version.
Oh, God, yeah.
They actually painted it. The correct colors, too.
Yeah.
And it looks remarkably better.
And it's ironic because the only thing they've really changed about the colors to the robot mode is to the beast mode.
Well,
the stripes more than anything. Or they've inverted them.
The mustard yellow for the robot mode has gone to more of a brassy, bronzy kind of bronze. It's more of a bronze kind of color.
Yeah, a more accurate bronze.
Yeah, and then the dinosaur mode is brown, like he was in the show. And like you said, they actually gave him the white stripes on him, which look really good, to be fair.
Yeah.
The only thing that kind of sticks out is his raptor arms are not the same color as his body. I imagine that's because they're like a softer plastic or something, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, the Henkei version is a good example of a really nice color scheme and good paint apps.
Yeah.
Salvaging what's kind of ironically, it doesn't look bad in this. I mean,
it looks better
in those colors.
It looks like Dinobot at least.
Absolutely. Is it a great figure? Probably not.
No.
But I'd rather if I had the Henkei version, I wouldn't have been unhappy to have it because at least it would have looked like the character as opposed to whatever Hasbro.
The problem is it didn't stand up well against everything else apart from Cheetor. Obviously, everything else this was not as good as that. If you were comparing this to the original 1996 figure, this is definitely an upgrade to that at the very least. It's just compared to like even the Datsun, it's just and Sunstreak and Sideswipe and Cyclonus, it's just like not nearly as good as them.
Sadly not.
And it only got the 2 uses. For some reason Japan didn't take Cheetor, but they did take Dinobot. They clearly thought they could salvage this, and they, like you said, Big D, they managed to do something a little bit better. I tell you what was a bit of a sad thing: the missile for the tail wasn't able to be used for a sword. That's something the original toy did do. It didn't have a shooting missile, but it had a sword he could use. So that's something the original had, technically, over this version.
Yeah, that's kind of a bit of a shame that you couldn't do that, but...
He goes into that kind of below average kind of category, I'd say.
Yeah.
That's where I'd slot. The American one is worse. Then below average. I'm saying below average for the Henkei version because at least it was the right color scheme to help, like you said, Big D, help salvage a not great but okayish kind of wonky-ish mold. You know.
Yeah.
Something that couldn't be saved is Galvatron.
Oh dear.
The famous figure that was sold to us as this was actually meant to be a Voyager figure, or no, it was a Voyager. And they downscaled it for... I don't remember what the reasons were, but they downscaled it for reasons. And it made this toy really fucking terrible. Absolute clusterfuck. It also has a completely closed fist for some bizarre reason. I'm trying to remember all of the reasons why this was awful. I remember the color scheme is not very good. The color placement is not very good.
Not only does it have a closed fist, his other hand, because it's open, doesn't have a post in it, so you can't hold anything.
That's true. Luckily, he didn't need to hold anything, but it definitely took the option away from him.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll throw something out here. The asymmetrical design is not a bad concept.
No.
I don't think it was implemented well, but the idea behind it, I'm not against.
Yeah, I like how the turret. I mean, for one thing, he has a turret that swivels.
Yeah,
and also the way that.
Yes.
Yep, and for the way that the arm cannon basically it flips out and over, and the arm folds out the back of the turret. Conceptually, that's actually really clever.
Yeah, it's a neat idea for a fusion cannon.
And if you look at the cannon itself, it has a lot of the details of that G1 Galvatron cannon built into it.
Yeah.
Which only get revealed as you flip it out. That's actually really quite neat design. This is one of the great frustration ones because, like you said, everyone knows it was originally planned as a Voyager and got downscaled because someone at Hasbro was clearly an imbecile. But man, just imagine if this had been kept as a Voyager, what we might have had.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know how you'd compare to like Inferno. I think it's so difficult to say. I think proportions would definitely help because his waist is absolutely tiny. It's like he's trying to squeeze in a pea. He's got inexplicable not even all of his joints. Random joints are just orange, and I don't know why. And then like his double elbow joint is gray, so there was no reason for all of them to be orange because clearly some of them are gray. I remember Dave's being loose and floppy as well, like his not the cannon arm, the other arm, the more normal arm, that just fell off of Dave's all the time.
It's a weird figure. I mean, it's got a nice vehicle mode. I actually quite like the vehicle. It's nice, it's clean.
Do you remember the transformation being nice? Because I don't remember it being very good. I remember it being a lot of fiddliness.
Yeah, it's very fiddly. I mean, there's some interesting stuff going on, but it's not a pleasant experience.
No.
I remember the instructions were not helpful.
No. They did also. Could this one also go into this like quadruped tank mode, or was it only for the Voyager that it was meant to be there?
Mode.
Yeah,
it was only for Voyager. There were. You can see where things were that was supposed to.
That's what it was.
You can if you have it, you can see where bits were either retooled into solid pieces that should have been, movable pieces to form that.
Yeah.
Or you can tell where something should have gone that would have let you do that.
Okay.
And it's just gone completely.
Yeah, thank you. Because I remember like people talked about the walking tank mode, but I can't remember if they'd implemented it into the deluxe or parts of it had been implemented into it. But like you say, it just been reloaded completely. Now, granted, I don't think that should have been in the Voyager anyway because it would look stupid. To be honest, I don't think it would have been a very cool looking mode. It's not like a Gerwalk mode.
I think they were trying to find a way to implement the third mode of the original toy. So you had the gun, the cannon, and the robot.
Yeah, so he would have had a robot, a tank, and then a kind of battle platform mode, I guess.
But if he turns into a tank, what's the point of him becoming a tank that's on 4 legs instead?
Yeah, it's kind of redundant, unless it's like really... No, because even then, like, if it's really rough terrain, a tank's probably going to be better at it than thing with 4 legs.
Yeah.
Unless because even going, I'm trying to think of like, because don't they have like those 4-limbed robots that they keep pushing down hills to test their stability and stuff and see if they can walk up hills with packages and stuff?
You mean the ones at Boston Dynamics keep doing stuff to, and we keep shouting at the screen saying, "Stop it, having a Terminator."
Yeah, exactly.
It wasn't a how-to documentary; it was a warning.
I don't know how true this article was, but I remember reading an article said they've developed the first psychopathic AI, and people are like, again, there are movie genres on this. There was also again, I'm not sure if it was a real thing or not, or if it was a meme. They're like, oh, we've been experimenting on monkey brains to increase their intelligence, and again, it's like, but we've made these movies. Stop it.
Yeah,
don't do it. What are you doing? It's like watching a movie about how Timmy set his house on fire, and Thomas went, "Oh, well, that's not me. I can play with gasoline." Like, no, your names are the same. Stop it. Don't do it. Don't run with matches in a house full of, like, gasoline. Please. The Galvatron. Galvatron's not a figure that's very much like that. There was the Challenged Cybertron version of him, which... it still has the orange joints in it. It's replaced the grey plastic with a very light grey plastic. like going from current GW plastic models to really old GW plastic models, like really like Road Trader plastic models kind of color.
This is much more a mashup of what you imagined the movie Galvatron colors and the toy Galvatron colors were in your head.
Kinda, yeah. But his face is so unhappy. He's so miserable.
I mean, if it was your first toy as yourself in like 20 years, because ignore the Unicron Trilogy ones, because they're not really Galvatron, they're just Megatron.
Yeah, they're repaints. Yeah, true.
Yeah. I mean, you'd be a bit grumpy as well, wouldn't you?
Let me throw out a British thing that only you and probably Mr. White will understand. He's got a face like Victor Meldrew. You know that, don't you? Victor Meldrew?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Okay. I was like, you should know who Victor Meldrew is. Mr. White's like, absolutely excellent. I'm glad the British people here understand One Foot in the Grave. He's got that kind of grump sourpuss look to his face.
He really does.
I almost asked, is he still alive? Is Victor Meldrew still alive?
Richard Wilson?
Yeah.
Best of my knowledge, yeah.
He's still going.
I wasn't aware, yeah.
I thought he was like 80 when he did that show.
No, he was only in his like 50s, 60s.
Fuck off. He looked so old in that show.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I thought he was like 80 doing that show. So he would be super old by now. But yeah, so that's one version of Galvatron. eHobby United did their version of Galvatron and went, what if we made him translucent? Again.
Why?
Because I can tell you why. Because this was a 3-pack of translucent Cyclonus, translucent Megatron, and that's right. It was I think it was translucent Scourge as well from
it was
the next wave, the Generations wave. So yeah, that was a bizarre pack.
Because they latched onto that idea.
Yeah, well, you know. Yeah.
I mean, it's a cute idea for a set, but
it kind of makes sense, I suppose. You know, it's like you said earlier with Unicron reforms them. They're sort of translucent.
Yeah, you just kind of feel it's just wasted on a really shit figure.
Well,
I hate to be negative. I hate to be negative about it that way, but it really is.
I mean, if it's a piece of shit, it's a piece of shit. You know.
Yeah,
you don't need to be nice about it. It's just bad. And this. Is this the worst, or is Cheeto worse than this? Because Cheeto doesn't feel like it has potential to be better, but it has a nice alt mode. This feels like it has potential, and the alt mode's okay, but it's just absolutely dog shit. Both of them are absolutely dog shit for robot mode. Maybe Galvatron looks better in... No, yeah, Galvatron has the edge over Cheeto, because I think the robot mode, at least for this mold, looks okay compared to Cheeto.
Yeah, and the robot mode can actually stand.
Yes.
Which Cheeto really struggles to.
Cheeto, I don't think falls apart like this figure does, though.
He just falls over.
He does just fall over. XL Hedge says Galvatron is worse. Why is Galvatron worse, though, XL Hedge? What makes this one significantly worse than Cheeto? Because don't get me wrong, they're both bad. I'm just trying to, in my mind, I'm trying to be like, but why is one worse than the other?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think this, to me, this might be better than Cheeto, but not. Again, this is a sliding scale of shit.
It's damning with faint praise.
Yeah, exactly. If XL Hedge wants to put down like some reasoning, I'll happily read it out and consider his judgment at the very least, because I'd be interested to know. But yeah, this figure didn't really get reused at all, which is probably for the best. Mr. White says Galvatron is worse because it had clear potential to work and was undermined by a single clear issue. So that's I can see where you're coming from. That's the potential that makes it. But is he a worse figure? Like, if we didn't know that it could have been a better figure, is it worse? It's that foreknowledge, that we know it might have been better. if you take that out of the equation, that potential, and just look at it as two figures next to each other, which one is worse? That's the part that my brain's stuck on. You know. Do you have any thoughts there, Big D? With those parameters that I give, because I think that makes it a lot harder. Because the potential thing does make it a lot easier to pin it down on him.
Yeah, it does. I mean,
so what do you think?
I think Cheeto's probably worse.
Okay.
Galvatron, at least, you can, if you get him transformed into one or the other mode and just put him on the shelf, he looks. He can stand. You can display him, whereas Cheetor,
like you said, he can't stand, right?
He's a pain in the ass to do much with.
Mr. White continues, if we thought he had been designed to be this size, then he'd be bad, but we wouldn't feel quite so negative towards it. Yeah, so it's really the potential, the knowledge. It's knowledge that we shouldn't have. It's forbidden knowledge because we know he could have been better. The perception is it's a worse figure. So I think, again, like I said, like you said as well, Big D, you take that out, this is a mildly better figure. Because I think it looks better on the shelf than that Cheeto. But it's still not good. I think this is probably a good place to leave it, Big D. We've got a few figures left. We've got Hotshot, Hound, Ironhide with the repaints of all these figures, of course. Inferno, Darkwing, Onslaught, and Power Glide to go through. So we'll probably combine this with I don't know, Reveal the Shield or something like that.
That sounds like a good idea. Yeah, I'm down with that.
And figure that out for next time. We're not sure. Depends what is happening next week, because there might. I don't think there was any. Was there any news this week that was really significant that you saw, Big D? I didn't think I saw anything.
Don't think so.
I don't think so.
Nothing springs to mind.
No, we got some like glory hole shots of the Star Convoy.
Yeah,
and they showed some new porn shots of the Devastation Optimus Prime and some other bits. But again, that can be again. There might be no news again for next week. So whatever. All right. Well, Big D, where can people find you on the internet if you want to be found? And what are you doing for your next podcast? That's another question.
Oh, well, I am all over the socials as David Kelly. Look for this handsome mug or a picture of Cup. Either way, it'll be me. Probably a feed full of Transformers and various miniature projects I've been kit bashing away on.
Yay.
Yep.
Are you going to start painting them up?
Painting's so passé.
It's so 2000s, Andy.
Just let me whittle away and build armies, can't you? I'm enjoying this.
They hate being grey. They want to be coloured.
I cleared all my AdMech backlog. They're all assembled now.
They're looking at your other painted things and like, why are we painted? I want to be colourful.
Mate, I'm taking a case of minis to my first gaming night in like nearly 2 decades on Wednesday. And
nice.
There's minis in there I've owned for nearly 30 years that aren't painted yet.
I wouldn't go into the club telling them that.
Well,
I've had these for 20 years and they still aren't painted.
It's the club's first night, so it's a new experience for everyone.
That should be fun. Oh, yeah, good for you.
I'm going to give the old world a shot.
Oh, you're going to have friends. Ooh, gaming club friends. Ooh, look at you with your friends. Wish I could have friends.
Well, it's in the village, which has been my problem because all the other gaming clubs are like 20 miles away.
Damn. Oh yeah, that should be good. Yeah. Hopefully you'll meet some people. Yeah. You can bully them into listening to the Fluffenhammer for Gruff as well.
What makes you think I'd have tried to do that?
I mean, just to help out Gruff. Gruff might persuade you with drugs and alcohol. I don't know. Or the things you can get at Carlisle.
Yeah.
Oh, McVitie's. He's got the McVitie's factory. He could tempt you with McVitie's biscuits.
I mean, in fairness, I was going to see when I got there if anyone reminded me taking pictures.
Oh, yeah.
Just so I could send Gruff a report to put on the site.
Yeah. Why not?
But, in a couple of weeks' time, we're doing another pop-up board game cafe.
Oh, fun.
or raise funds for the guides and brownies for their trip to Paris.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so we'll be loading up my car with more board games, shuffling them in. Hopefully, we won't have as torrential weather as we had last time, because last time the weather just was not great.
Ah, bummer.
And we still had like 8 people turn up, which that's
Well, that's good.
That's 4 groups. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
So
For a first time thing, right?
yeah, so
that's not bad.
Mum's put up all the posts. She put a thing up on the village Facebook group this morning. So fingers crossed that'll get a turnout. Otherwise, I've been kit bashing away. Got my Deathcore Creek box yesterday. Built Marshall Dreer this evening, which is a lovely build with a very scary horse.
Oh, why is the horse scary?
Have you seen the Deathcore horses?
Yeah, they got cute little feet.
Horses shouldn't have talons.
Why not? I mean, it's got a mask on. You don't know what it looks like under the mask. It might not have a horse head. It might be a human face.
In fairness, I've read fantasy series where there are carnivorous versions of horses, and it's weird as fuck.
What are they called? Morses?
Horses? They're called something weird. I can't remember what series.
The troglodytes.
And myself and Mr. White, I believe our next film is going to be Total Recall.
Oh.
After basically strong-arming into doing all 3 Lord of the Rings extended cuts, I thought it was his turn to pick.
That makes sense. That makes sense. So you're going to talk about the sound effects at the end of the credit sequence. I mean, of course you are. Of course you are.
Yeah. And of course,
you know what you should do? You should screw over Mr. White, and you should talk about the much better movie, Total Recall, with Colin Farrell.
No, I did say to him, "Now, which one did you want us to do?" And he did say, "No, the good one."
Mr. White, of course, leapt on that and went, "Of course, I meant the Colin Farrell movie, because whoa, what a film!"
I went and saw that at the cinema, goddammit.
Oh, why?
Because, well, I have a card, so my going to the cinema doesn't cost me money, it just costs me time.
Yeah, but you don't have to eat glass either, but it is on the floor sometimes.
Well, there wasn't a lot out at that point either.
You mean glass or movies?
Movies.
Okay.
I always did a Friday night shift, so I tried to see something before I went to work.
Oh, God. Well, I mean, you saw it. Yeah. It's a movie. Yeah. It's really bad.
Yeah.
Mr. White says, I've seen the remake. It's passable. Oh. Okay.
Yeah. Otherwise, I just finished Aliens Dark Descent this afternoon.
All done. Completed.
Yeah.
Nice.
I quite enjoyed that.
That now, you've talked a few times about it. This is the top-down isometric strategy game, right? Or is it a different one? Because there are a lot of Aliens games.
Well, there's Fireteam Elite, which is for third-person squad shooter, which is actually quite good fun, but you do need to have friends to play it with, because you can't just group up with randos, especially given the game's been out so long. Because everyone else is like way higher level than you, so you need to find some like-minded friends to either carry you along or to join you on the journey. But no, Dark Descent is... I every time I play it, I just think, gosh, I wish this could get reskinned into a 40k game.
Are there any mods for it?
I need to look into that. It's just... It just nails the aesthetic of Aliens, of exploring...
I mean, the good movies, right? Not most of the bad movies.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing is your ship's crashed on a planet that's got an alien outbreak, and you're kind of trying to marshal resources and send squads out. But you can go into each mission, you can extract your team before you've completed it at any point. Just get back to your APC, and then you can return to base and then try again. So if you've got anyone injured or you've lost some guys, you can just pull back and try again. Which is, it's kind of fun. And it's not super deep, but the fact that you don't micromanage the whole squad, the game, you control them as one entity. So when any skills and equipment you've given them will just form one action bar. And if you tell someone, if you want them to do something, the system automatically selects the best Marine for the job.
Okay, that's handy.
Yeah, it's fun. It put it in as one of the better times to the franchise, certainly. So yeah, good time. I'd say if you get a chance, pick it up and give it a go. So gets a thumbs up from me.
Nice. That all the things?
I think so. Yeah.
All right.
What about yourself?
You can find me on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube as Decayed Andy. Rotten Flesh of a Human Being, not 10 years. Don't make that mistake. You can find me on Moonbase 2 forums, Twitter, iTunes, Facebook, and Libsyn. Also, Moonbase 2 Transformers podcast on YouTube. And with the Decayed Andy, we're streaming at the moment. We finished Young David the Diver. He's done diving now. No more diving for Dave. He's done. And we're playing... sorry, what's that?
I was going to say, so you finished Dave.
I have.
Now, me and Mr. White quite fancied seeing you enter the world of assassination with Hitman. But I gather you've been swayed by...
by other means, yes.
Well, Daddy bought you something, didn't he?
No, it's Jubal. Jubal bought me
Was
Sifu.
it Jubal?
Yeah, Jubal bought me Sifu, so I'll be playing Sifu because he bought it for me. So it's like, yeah, all right, well, fair enough. Sifu being apparently quite a difficult kung fu game. I'm going to replace the main character with probably a VTuber instead because I would prefer cute anime girl than just Asian dude. Call me racist or sexist if you like, but I prefer cute anime girl. I
have to admit, this afternoon I was looking through my Steam and Epic libraries because I couldn't remember if I had it or not, and I've got it in both, so I've downloaded it.
You should download mods because he could replace the main character with, like, I think you could maybe replace him to like Kermit the Frog.
That's funny.
I know you can do Batman. I'm pretty sure you can do Shrek. You can do what's his name? You know the shit, here we go again from San Andreas. That guy from the meme.
Oh, CJ.
Yeah, you can replace the main character with CJ.
Or Big Smoke.
I don't know. You can. I just know him as the meme guy who says, "Oh shit, here we go again." You can replace him with him. So we'll be doing Sifu next. I don't know how long Sifu is, but that should be fun. And we'll be finishing off Dead Space as well, which will since it's like 2 chapters per stream seemingly at the moment. It'll probably be another 2 streams, and then maybe I'll get Hitman, and then we'll have Hitman and Sifu going at the same time.
I mean, Hitman has a lot of content to it.
It's big.
Yeah, I mean, just the basic world of assassination. If you get the full 1, 2, and 3,
yeah, it's weird because they did it in like episodes kind of thing because you can get the first part on Steam for like £5, but then if you want the full game, it's like 30. It's weird.
Well, the first game they released it in chapters.
That's what it was. That's
so
what it was. Chapter 1. That's right.
Yeah. So that, but then the second game was complete, but had some expansion stuff you could buy, and then 3, you can buy passes to give you access to all the missions from the first 2 games. I think it's like 25 quid to get 1, 2, and 3 as one complete thing. But then you can play the first 2 games effectively with all they added some more little quality of life things in 2 and 3. So you can go back and play like the first game missions with some of those features now in there.
Yeah, I think it's just classed as Hitman World Assassin, which you can get for £58. Yeah, I wasn't gonna. I can get this cheaper somewhere else, but that's a bit expensive from Steam, I'm afraid. You can get Chapter 1 on sale. Chapter 1 is like £5.
I mean,
it's like sorry, no, that's episode. That's an episode Spetsnaz is £5. I mean, part 1 is £7. Okay.
The training mission, which is actually you can do quite a bit of stuff in that. The training missions is free. That gives you 2 maps to mess around in.
Complete all crime and punishment challenges. 1.1% of people get a score above 1,000,000 points on Pen and the Sword. There are a lot of achievements. Oh my god.
See, what annoyed me about this was that when they released the 3rd game, they did a thing where you could migrate your data across from your profile to the third game, so you could have all your stuff transferred across, all your achievements, all your progress.
Mm.
And I didn't know which of the two files it presented me with was which, and I picked the wrong one. So I've had to because I'd actually done quite well in cleaning up various achievements and sub goals in various missions of Hitman 1 and 2.
Okay.
And then when I went into 3, that was all gone because I picked the wrong save file. I was gutted.
Oh no.
Yeah, I've been trying to work up the enthusiasm to go back and do those because some of them are actually quite fun to mess around with. It is the way they've designed this game in particular. It is just sandbox to off people in increasingly hilarious ways.
Maybe if I start playing it again, it might inspire you. Who knows?
Probably.
That's the massive gap. Probably. Yeah, maybe. No. Who knows? But yeah, that's what I'm doing at the moment. That's all my stuff. But thank you, Big D, for joining me on the show today.
No problem. As ever, it's a pleasure.
Yeah, and thank you for watching with us. We'll be doing this again next week at like 9:30 to 10 o'clock in the evening UK time. If you want to join us live on Moonbase 2 Twitch channel and whatnot. Until then, thanks everybody.